Very serious.
We could have had the perfect night. Love in the air as I placed your hand into mine, and hearts beating wildly, fueled by the feelings deep inside. And I was wasting my time, 'cause he was on your mind. You had a quick change of heart, so why didn't you tell me how you felt straight from the start? 'Cause now you're not here and slowly my world falls apart. And I fell in love too soon, and I fell in love with you. If I wasn't good enough, would you tell me so? If we're not meant to be, then I need to know. Right now you're the only thing that I really need in my life. So don't say goodbye, yeah. 'Cause you're telling me how we had tried this all once before. Can I win anymore? So why can't you see how I need you more and more every day? Can't believe you walk away. And how far down will I take this pain with me? You'll never see how I'm trying to beg you, please. So don't say goodbye. I need you in my life. So don't say goodbye. If I wasn't good enough, would you tell me so? If we're not meant to be, then I need to know. Right now you're the only thing that I really need in my life. So don't say goodbye. I need you in my life. So don't say goodbye, yeah. If I wasn't good enough, would you tell me so? If we're not meant to be, then I need to know. Right now you're the only thing that I really need in my life. So don't say goodbye. I need you in my life. So don't say goodbye.
Hello, Sage. This is Cody. Or how? Wait a minute. Is my name Cody or Colby? I'm not really sure. So I will, there in fact, internally. Hang on a second. God damn it. I'm trying to. Wait a minute. I think your name might be Sully. I don't fucking know what your goddamn real name is. Alright, give me a call back. Wait a minute. Sage. I'm sorry. Please don't record this.
It's okay. I forgive you, Cody. I forgive you, Cody. Oh, Lord. What is going on with TikTok? What is going on with TikTok? I already got to fix TikTok. TikTok's already out of control. Let me do this for TikTok. I'm doing this TikTok thing here, and TikTok, you got to be this big to be on the screen. You got to be this big to be on the screen, or you got to be up here, over here, or something like this. So you got to be up here. I don't know. I don't know. We're going to do this TikTok thing, but you know what? I'm not going to do the TikTok thing. We're going to stop the TikTok thing. Stand by. We're going to end the live over on TikTok. Because I got to set up a whole nother thing over on TikTok to get the TikTok thing live. And I think what I'm going to do is just, if either I'm live on YouTube or I'm live on TikTok, I'm not doing both. Because I got to set up a whole new screen and a whole new thing. And I'm just not doing that. I'm just not doing that, basically. I don't know what to tell you. So I don't know. We're going to teach you a new move. We're going to teach you a new getaway move. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Well, let's get the party started. Let's get the party started. Hang on. Hello, lady.
Hey.
What?
You are not Kevin Costner.
Very true. I am not Kevin Costner. This is Sage from Sage Outcast Show, here where we talk logistics, current events, and stuff like that. And it's a call-in show. There's a number on the screen. You can definitely call in. I was on TikTok for like 15 seconds. I had to get rid of that. I'll have to figure that out later. I'll be completely honest with you. I'm not a TikTok guy. I'm not a fan of it. I got like 5,000 followers over there. I put videos over there, but I don't know. They have a studio, but for some reason, the studio's all messed up. Like, it's perfect over here, but it's not perfect over there. Probably because they might be 720 and this is 1080. That might be, this is 19 by 1080. That might be 7. I don't know. It's just messed up over there. Problem solved. And the TikTok stream. Problem solved. Okay. So, we had some stuff kind of happen yesterday. I wanted to talk about some other stuff, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit. Some stuff was brought to me, which I thought was kind of a good idea. So, there's a lot of other aspects or other genres that kind of talk about things or that I'm going to start also kind of including into the show that kind of reference back to what we talk about, right? So, obviously, there is... Yeah, I'm going to get rid of this right now. Let me get this out of my way here, so I don't want to see this. Obviously, there are, like, cars. Like, I'm gonna play a video today, and even the car car lover genre, is also talking about different aspects of the economy, and they're talking about different aspects of tariffs, and they're talking about different aspects of that. So I've got a couple videos and some people that are going to be sending me different genres of stuff to talk about and things like that, which I thought that could be kind of interesting. I thought that'd be kind of interesting to also talk about that. But obviously we had a couple things happen just yesterday, which was kind of chaotic. One of the things is that, Russia, we're trying to basically seize a vessel that Russia is sending a submarine to protect. That's kind of interesting. So they're kind of threatening to issues with that. So we've got some tensions in the waters over there with these Venezuelan tanker ships with Russia and stuff like that. Remember, no new wars. He's the big negotiator. No big deal. Also, we had a unaliving event that took place in Minnesota, which I wanted to kind of cover also. So, but my thoughts are on it are going to be probably, well, maybe not completely different than other people. But I don't know. And here's some of the questions that I have for you guys in the chat, right? And I appreciate you. If you do me a favor, hit the like button as you come in there. That'd be great. I think Goldfish got the point, so I don't think we have to call Goldfish today. But who knows? He might try to call in on another top secret number. But basically, here's where I am at with this. And here's the question that I have for you guys, okay? Now, I know that we have a lot of conservatives and a lot of, Second Amendment people. I'm a Second Amendment person, right? I have allegedly. I have firearms, things like that. I've got a shooting range in my backyard, basically, on my property. So my question is, what is... Because you hear this all the time, people are like, it's for tyrannical government, whatever the word is. I'm already, you guys get the point, right? It's for that government, that overreaching government. It's to keep the government in control, right? So my question is, for you guys is, what does a government out of control look like? Like, does it have to be on one side? I mean, is it overall? Like, so, and the reason I ask this is, and people are going to probably call on the show today, and they're going to ask me about Babbitt, and they're going to ask me about this shooting in Minnesota and stuff like that. But to me, my question is that if a government on either side is overreaching and getting out of control, does it matter which side it's on for it to be tyrannical? You see, I got the word that time. I got it. We also found something out. You guys want to hear something weird? We also found out something really weird. When I go to read online or when I go to read out loud, I sound like I'm, slow, like I'm, a moron. And most of you are saying, well, you're a moron anyways. But I read quietly quite well. And if I do, and this is weird, because we did this yesterday, if I do a dramatic reading, I nail it. Like, I have no problems reading. And, like, I legitimately have people that says, you might just have to do dramatic readings all the time because we can't figure out why, if you just read normal, you can't read out loud. But if you do a dramatic reading, it's like, it's no problem at all. No problem at all, and I'm just nailing everything. So it's weird. It's weird to me. I don't know. Side note. Okay. So my question to you is to everybody again out there after I got on my little side tangent there was the fact that what does it have to look like for the government to be tyrannical on either side? On either side, what does it have to actually look like? Okay? Because what I'm kind of seeing is a little bit of out of control. Like, we seriously have issues going on, to be honest. I would blink. Right? Go back to Pokey Cards. Call in the show. Phones are already on.
His number, 856-600-4654. Sage Outcast. I have questions.
Phones are already on this one, on today's show. And so this is not, and so it has nothing to do, like I said, just what does it have to look like because I know we all say that, well, the firearms are for a tyrannical government, things like that. What does that look like, to be honest? Like, what would constitute people on the right, on the left, basically saying, you guys are getting a little out of control. Just so I know. Just so I can kind of know. Because there's a lot of confusion in regards to, like, sanctuary cities and stuff like this, and ICE and jurisdictions and stuff like that. So, and I'm going to kind of break this down real quick, speed version, before I get in some of these videos. Only the federal government has the jurisdiction to enforce immigration. So what a sanctuary city is, basically, is that local PD, local sheriff, local troopers, they're not going to divert their resources to do immigration. One, they don't have jurisdiction. Two, they're just not going to do it. So a big thing would be, well, we have this person that we picked up for DWI. Okay. Now the judge, we had his hearing and they let him go. He has to come back later for his trial, but he's out on his own recognizance. But what local PD and state PD don't do in sanctuary cities is detain someone and wait for ICE to come get them. Because before this, you would have to leave them in the jail, feed them, watch them, and do all this other stuff, and that costs money. And a lot of this stuff that the ICE budget, until this thing that just passed, didn't have this huge ICE budget. So a lot of, local PDs, cities, and towns, and sheriffs, and so on, were basically saying, look, we're not going to detain this guy based on jurisdiction we don't have. We're not going to be responsible for this guy. We don't have jurisdiction to do this. So if you want him, come get him, but we're not holding him any longer because we don't have to, right? You can go get him we've got his information. You go get him yourself. Find him yourself. So when it comes to immigration, the federal government handles that. That's an ICE issue, right? That's an ICE, customs, things like that. That's not a local PD. But my question is, again, at what point are we? At what point do we say, well, whoa, you guys are kind of overreaching in regards to your efforts. You're kind of out of control with some of the things that you're doing. And I find it weird that if you're okay with it, it's not a tyrannical government. But if you're not okay with it, it is a tyrannical government. That kind of makes sense. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, he's a liberal, he's this. I think I'm more, like I said, I've done this before, and I'm kind of more logical, right? So I kind of look at things from an aspect of, so my question would be, either for the right or the left, when would somebody on the right say, yeah, that's a tyrannical government? And when would somebody on the left, is it based on the president who's in charge and which side of the aisle he's on? Or is it possible, and this was what I'm asking, is that we're just kind of pushing that right or left eventually to we both just keep calling out each other so that the right can do whatever they want, and then the left can come back in and do whatever they want, and then the right can do whatever they want, and no matter, by the time we're done, we've got a far-casting tyrannical government, and we didn't even know what the hell just happened. If that makes sense. Kind of weird, right? So I wanted to kind of put that out there in regards to things. Oh, we have Media 2.0 in here. I got to take this out of control. All right. So, oh, hang on a second. Hang on, I had to find my other ringer. All right, I got one. Hang on.
Bert, Colorado.
What you got going on, brother?
How you doing, Sage? Yeah, people are talking about the Second Amendment. He didn't have the rights to do that. This was an unarmed person. They're saying that he had the actual right to do that. But our argument is, where is it to where an police officer or any officer has the right to pull their firearm onto a moving vehicle, and he didn't have any rights, including, basically doing that to an unarmed woman or any unarmed person, right? Where is that? And I don't understand, why are they defending that?
So this is kind of a fine line in regards to a vehicle. So a vehicle could be a weapon. Now, was she directing it? Now, evading the police officer, if you're not, now it's different if you're, so if you've just committed a crime and I've just witnessed you commit a crime, like you just unalived somebody or you just did something, and then you jump in a vehicle and you're driving away, and there's a potential for you to commit other felonies with that weapon or harm other people with that, then shooting that, I might be authorized, depending on the situation again, to fire on you, fleeing. But if you're just fleeing the scene because you were yelling at the cops and now you don't want to be arrested by the cops, that doesn't authorize me to use deadly force, because I can just get your license plate and pick you up later.
Right.
Like, you're not going to run down the road. You're not carrying a firearm. You didn't just do a school unaliving event, and you're getting away. You just were yelling at the cops, maybe disrupting, police activity, police authority, just, stuff like that. But you weren't, what you did is not something that you were going to run down the road and continue to unalive people. So I can't unalive you for evading arrest. Motorcycles do this all the time, and they just get the plate number, let them go, right? Because it can create an unsafe situation. They're gonna, with the motorcycle, stuff like that. So no, so a vehicle can be used as a weapon. This was not that. This was not being used. She did not turn into the police officer. She did not steer the wheels to unalive him. She turned the wheels to evade him. She was trying to get away.
Right.
And that is not
Well,
an
if you look
unaliving
at the
event.
if you look at the passenger side of her car, there was a car door open, right? So she wasn't trying to hit that vehicle. She was trying to get around that vehicle so she wouldn't hit that car door. And then they were saying when she was maneuvering to get away from that car that had that car open, that's the reason why she veered to him. And then he had his weapon out already. He was getting ready to fire. So there was no reason, no rhyme, no reason why any officer should be, doing that to an unarmed person, especially an unarmed woman, right?
Right. So, correct. So
I just wanted to point that out, Sage, because this is going to get crazy. It's a Second Amendment thing and things like that. But I just wanted to point out that she was trying to maneuver her vehicle away from an open door. She probably didn't want to hit that car, so she drove away, and then she veered, to the right. If you look at it real close.
Right.
Okay, well, that's my 1 minute, so I'm going to let you go.
Okay, thanks.
You have a good morning, and thank you for coming on a Thursday for us, Sage, to talk about this.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so also real quick, guys, if your mod's in there, let people say what they want unless they're slurs or foul language. Anything else they can say, I don't care. Because I want to be able to see some of that stuff so I can call it out and try to get them to come on the show. So if you're a mod, don't just toss people for saying mean things or whatever. I don't care about that. Only slurs or foul language. Just so you know. Because I can't call them out if I can't see some of the stuff they're saying. Thank you. Okay. So what I did want to cover real quick before I did this was a couple things. And this one's kind of pretty quick. And because I had a conversation yesterday, and then I'll get into the ICE thing because I'm going to let you guys kind of... Ashley Babbitt, right? I want to actually talk about that also. Real quick. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday that when I asked them who pays the tariffs, they automatically assume and that I'm going to go down the road that we pay the tariffs. And that's not always the case. And I tried to explain this to them. So if you're a car person, and you might want to think about stuff like this, because if you're a car person, one of the way that, let's say the tariffs go up on GM, right? Now the tariff price is going up. GM's having to pay tariffs. How does companies like GM get away from the tariffs?
Would consider their old flagship.
I know what I was going to ask you too. I noticed a trend in transmissions across the board where, and I've heard people claim, and I don't believe it, they claim that, all the new fluids are just so advanced they can handle all these crazy high temperatures and all these transmissions. And I see people with new Toyotas, new Tundras, Tacomas, whether it's, new GMCs, Fords, and they're all lacking transmission coolers. They're all running when they're towing, 240 to 280 degrees. And I'm just thinking that is going to fry that thing so fast. And my old Sequoia, it's a 2008, has an external cooler on it, which they removed in 2010. And that thing runs when I'm towing up the worst passes in the country. It'll run at 200 to 210 degrees.
Okay. Now I'm going to kind of pass this because you might not be car people, but now that you kind of say that, and here's what they're saying now. What they're basically saying is that, hey, cars used to come with transmission coolers, right? A tow package. They'd come with a transmission cooler. So that it would keep the temperature down because the fluids break down at a certain temperature, which protects your motor and protects the engine, and then eventually protects the transmission. I'm sorry, and then protects it where you're not losing your car and it's not, breaking. And we hear this all the time that everything's going to crap because we make things overseas and we used to make things here. Well, that's not true. But how are they getting around some of the tariffs?
That's something that you should try and address if you want to keep going.
How do you think tariffs are going to affect all this? Do you think it's just going to drive quality down even more because the cost of domestic manufacturing is just slightly more expensive and they'll just cut corners even more?
You hear what he said? Basically what they're doing, and a lot of people are coming out, and this is a former GM powertrain engineer, and he's kind of explaining this. So what they do is they realize that, okay, you're going to tariff us. Now, we can't raise the price of the car, but we can start to leave things off the car. We can not put not put transmission coolers on there. We can make the door handles out of a cheaper plastic. We can make some of the parts and stuff cheaper because rather than raise the price of the car, we have to find ways to make the car cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. So we're going to make a cheaper and cheaper and cheaper car.
Afraid so. I know that a lot of, let's refer to them as parts suppliers, and I mean the people who are actually creating parts for a manufacturer, let's say a group of companies that are producing parts for General Motors, they have imposed increased fees and what they actually refer to as tariff fees for quite a while now to, in a sense, pre-plan for this. And I've been paying some of those tariffs on a lot of parts and components that I use to make what I need to upgrade these vehicles for probably about a year now. So I do agree that there probably will be further diminished quality, but these companies have been aware and planning for these tariffs for quite a while now. And they're just going to use it as an excuse at this point because most people don't know that they've already been paying higher prices, planning for this.
Man, the used market's going to get even worse, I suppose.
It must. Yeah, it must.
In the sense that, all the old Toyotas and everything are just the price is just going to keep going up on old reliable vehicles, whether it's old GMs, Toyotas, whatever they are.
So that's another aspect, and I wanted to put that out there. That's another aspect that businesses will do to basically, and I've said this, they need to be more efficient with AI, but they also can basically just lower the quality of the product that they're making, right? To basically cut away from the tariffs. Okay. I did want to bring that up. I think I'll bring that up in another video because everybody wants to talk about this ICE thing. I'm going to play this video here, and people are going to be like, oh, you're getting your information from here? And I'm getting my information, but I'm also, some of the reason I give my information from, like, Young Turks or stuff, because I don't agree with Young Turks on everything, but I'll point out what I don't agree with, what I do agree with.
A woman in Minneapolis, Minnesota was fatally shot by an ICE agent today. Now, this story is still developing. I'm sure those who follow this type of news on social media have come across the multiple videos that have gone viral of the tragic event. But the victim was described as a 37-year-old white woman, and that's according to Minneapolis police officials. And soon after this story broke, we had a little more clarity in terms of the identity of this woman. So she's 37-year-old Nicole Good. Renee Nicole Good, her bio on social media stated that she was a poet, a writer, a wife, and a mom, and that she was from Colorado, but experiencing Minneapolis, Minnesota. She is now, unfortunately, dead as a result of an ICE agent shooting her.
I believe she was also a podcaster. And so she was one of the people that would, and then an observer. So she would go also out there and see where ICE was at and cover things like that.
Now, later in the segment, we're going to show you what I think is the clearest video of the incident. But first, let me give you some more context. So witnesses, along with video evidence, do contradict the claims that are being made by federal officials who allege.
Because then I'm also going to ask, is it okay for government to lie about what happened? Is it okay for anybody in our government to lie about what happened? Blatantly lie about what happened. I mean, bad.
That the shooting happened in self-defense. I'm sure that there will be many who defend the Trump administration, especially when it comes to his deportations and his deployment of ICE agents. They're going to see the video and they're going to say, no, she tried to run them over. I have a different take. We're going to watch the video and the slowed down version as well, and you can judge for yourselves. But here's what the feds are saying. So soon after the shooting was reported, Tricia McLaughlin, who's the Assistant Secretary Deputy of Homeland Security, says on X that today ICE officers in Minneapolis were conducting targeted operations when rioters began blocking ICE officers, and one of these violent rioters weaponized her vehicle, attempting to run over our law enforcement officers in an attempt to kill them, an act of domestic terrorism.
No. That's not what happened. And you can see that's not what happened. She didn't turn into them, she turned away from them.
So these are very strong words. I want you to remember them as we watch the video. But let me continue with the rest of what she had to say. An ICE officer, fearing for his life, she says, the lives of his fellow law enforcement and the safety of the public, fired defensive shots. He used his training and saved his own life and that of his fellow officers. So here's what DHS Secretary Kristi Noem had to say. Here's her account.
It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened, it was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours...
No. She was attempting to evade.
...acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased.
So you now have the perspective of the federal government. They're claiming, well, these ICE agents, they were in imminent danger. They were being run over. They were being run over. Okay. Well, luckily there were witnesses on the scene who filmed the entire thing. There are multiple videos from multiple angles. I've watched as many of them as I could find. This one happened to be the clearest one in my view. So we're gonna watch the video as it was filmed in real time, and then we're gonna watch the slowed down version of it. I want you to pay attention to the placement of the federal agents. I want you to pay attention to the wheels of her vehicle and where they are turning, because I think that's important. I want you to focus on the speed in which she is moving her vehicle. With all of that in mind, here is the video showing what happened. Take a quick look.
Okay, take a quick look. All right, so right off the bat, I don't know what vehicle was stuck because I'm 99% sure. Well, I'm not 100% sure it wasn't this stuck because this one drives away. How's it going, Generally Specific? I don't think it was this vehicle that was stuck that they were pushing. I mean, it might have been, but this vehicle eventually drives away, so I don't think it was this one. So she is definitely. I don't think she's trying to go around this vehicle because somebody else goes around it. I think she's looking to possibly block this vehicle, which I'm thinking she knows is ICE because it has lights going. I mean, you saw the lights going when it rolled up. But again, my question is that I know we have the Second Amendment. And one of the people that they're going to say we have the Second Amendment for a tyrannical government. What does a tyrannical government look like? And my problem is that some people will say it's this, and some people are okay with this. Like, what aspect now are we reaching of this? All right, so he walks up to the car, and she's like, get out of the car. I can hear him say, get out of the car. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I can hear him say, get out of the car. She's backing up, and she's got the wheels turned away. No! She tries to back up. No! All right. There's a cop that comes around from this vehicle. He was probably in this vehicle right here. He comes around to the front driver's side corner of the vehicle. She now has the car in forward gear, and she's looking to go forward. No! She's turning the wheel to evade. To evade this cop. To evade. Damn! He fires one into the front and two into the side. And she's unalived.
What the did you do? Sage, one of the things about that point of view, you're pointing at the one that was right beside the door. There was another one further down at the front corner at the bumper. And that's it shown in another view. And that's what they keep trying to say is the person that she was trying to hit. But it's obvious that she wasn't.
This guy that's at the door did not shoot. The guy right here.
It's the one at the corner.
Right, the corner. That's what I'm saying. So there is somebody in front of the vehicle in the corner, not on the passenger door, on the front driver corner panel. Is right there. He's in front. Correct. He is drawing his weapon right now. He's the one that came from around. He came around the other side of this vehicle. He came around the vehicle. He's got his weapon pointed at the windshield right now. She is turning the wheel because I can see the tires starting to turn away. Shit! And she's trying to evade. Shit! Now, she has a license. That one. Go ahead.
It's that furthest guy standing there right now.
Right, that's
what was the one that was at the front bumper.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's the guy I'm talking about. Yeah. And then she has a license plate. So you can get her license plate. Oh my God! If she would have drive away, she would have been able to get a license plate. What the? Now he reholsters his gun and he starts walking towards the vehicle.
What the did you do? So before we get to the slowed down version of the video, I want to reiterate what we heard from DHS or what we read from DHS, that there were violent rioters present. Look, we don't have the full context, right? So we don't know what happened before that video or that phone started filming that video.
Correct. So this is the problem too. We don't know. I don't think she was out there waving a firearm around, but we don't know what was happening prior to this event. It looks like she was blocked. Well, she was blocking, obviously, because she was sideways in the street. It looks like she was blocking traffic. Now, she might have been, like I said, we don't know what that event is. She probably was yelling something at ICE, 100%. I'll give her that.
But as far as what we saw, was there a violent riot? I didn't see a violent riot in that video. Now, more information could emerge that shows otherwise, but
I didn't see a violent riot. A violent riot is a pretty blatant term. Like, I'm pretty sure that if there was a violent riot going on, that also would have been filmed. There would have been evidence of that.
Now, they also claimed that the driver was attempting to run the ICE agent over. It looked to me that she was slowly pulling forward and moving the wheel of her vehicle.
Well, it looks like she was on slick roads, because I did see the tire spin. So it looked like she was on ice, and they were stuck in the snow, allegedly. So most likely that was slick roads. She was trying to evade. She was trying to evade. 100% trying to evade, trying to run.
Evade the police, or to evade the ICE agents. Now, you can say, well, evading officials, evading law enforcement is wrong.
True, that law enforcement would be wrong.
And that's fair if you want to say that. That does not justify shooting and killing an American citizen or shooting and killing anyone. Now, people are asking, well, what was the ICE agent supposed to do? I'll show you what he was supposed to do. Move out of the way.
Correct. Just sidestep the vehicle. Just sidestep the vehicle. Remember, drawing a firearm is the last resort. Shooting your firearm is your last resort. Sidestepping and allowing the vehicle to go and getting the plate number and then sending pressing charges and sending local PD to her house, maybe not local PD, I don't know, county sheriffs to her house to say that, hey, you did this. We have recording of this. We have body cam of this. You know, they're pressing charges. Local county sheriff would arrest her at home.
I didn't even need training for that. Move out of the way. He had enough time to reach for his gun, but he didn't have enough time to move out of the way.
Correct. And to be honest, he shouldn't have placed himself in a position. The woman can be heard telling ICE agents to go around, if I'm not mistaken, before they get into the truck and back around. The window down says that. I didn't hear that. But even if he placed himself into a bad position, to be completely honest, like there was no need for him to place himself into the position of blocking a vehicle. So as a law enforcement officer, you have somebody at the door, placing yourself into that position that you're now putting yourself in harm's way of the vehicle for somebody that, again, this is not a school unaliver. This isn't somebody that's committed, unaliving felony events that they're trying to stop, right? You have to kind of also assume that, okay, she's in a vehicle and, she's not complying with the door being opened. It's still in gear. Don't put yourself in a situation that you can't sidestep. You know what I mean? Like exactly. He put himself in front of the vehicle in order to have an excuse. Right. And my opinion, if he was coming around and he didn't get around and she did it, but he was trying to get around the vehicle, that's different. But he stopped and then drew his weapon and aimed. To me, there was no need to draw your weapon because you drew your weapon because you placed yourself in a bad position as a law enforcement officer rather than just come around. And if she wanted to evade, you get her license plate number, you call a sheriff, you'd be like, hey, we're pressing charges. She evaded, she did this, she did that. You can go get her, and you show up at the house and you arrest her.
DHS official also claimed that the two ICE agents were...
Now, again, placing himself in that position, that could have been a mistake. I'm not saying that things like that. So I'm trying to be open on this. That could have been a mistake. He could have made a mistake and said and didn't think about that. But the drawing of the weapon and pointing the weapon and pulling of the trigger, not so much a mistake. Putting himself in that position where he's like, oh shit, I gotta get out of the way. Okay. Putting himself in that position to draw the weapon, not so much a mistake.
Injured? Did they look injured to you?
Yes. And then coming out and saying that the police was injured.
So that's my perception of it.
Okay.
Now let's watch the slowed down version of the video and pay attention.
And again, I know not people are going to like the Young Turks and stuff like that, but there's a reason I picked the Young Turks because they're going to say some stuff that I'm going to also counteract because in my opinion, obviously.
To the wheels of her vehicle because that'll show you that she wasn't trying to run into him. She's trying to evade the ICE agent. Take a look.
Okay, so that's backing up and he's holding the vehicle. Now at this point, This is not the same cop that shoots. The other guy, you're going to see him come around. I think he's coming around from the SUV that was on the side of this car. There he is right there. He just came around. Okay, she's moving forward, and the tires spin a little bit, but this is icy slick road, because you even see another cop get out of the truck and fall, and then get up. He's now drawing his weapon at this point, rather than get out of the way. Just get out of the way of the vehicle at this point. Again, this is not a school on a liver. Just get out of the way of the vehicle. If this was my training, it's just get out of the way of the vehicle. Don't place yourself in a situation that you're going to get run over by a car if you don't have to get, you know what I'm saying? So get out of the way. He should have just continued to walk around the car and came to the side door the same way. And then if she was going to continue to run off, he should have just got the license plate and yelled out the license plate. You know, B6274, B6274. Somebody write that down. B6274. Yeah, and I think he's drawn his weapon. Why? At this point, what threat has she conducted other than trying to evade? That's not a threat to him. He's not in a situation that he can't just move over, right? So drawing the weapon, although, you know, again, she's not a serious criminal at this point that has just robbed a bank, unalived people. That's a different situation. That's different. This is not that. Okay. This cop lets go. This cop stays in the position of in front of the vehicle. Bad idea. One shot to the window. Two shots, side window. So multiple shots were fired. One in the front window, two in the side window.
So we've heard from the federal government attempting to defend themselves after this pretty damning incident took place. And by the way, this is with the backdrop of all these other cases in which ICE agents have brutalized people, including American citizens. And we're going to get to that context in just a second, because I'm going to show you the goods. But because of that video that I just showed you, the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, I should say, weighed in and said, you know, these claims that the ICE agents did this in self-defense is BS. Take a look.
They are not here to cause safety in this city. What they are doing is not to provide safety in America. What they are doing is causing chaos and distrust.
So I got a couple opinions about this, and one of my thoughts is, when you put people in, these guys are in like SWAT gear all the time. Okay, they're in SWAT gear all the time. When you place law enforcement officers in SWAT gear all the time, with some of them are carrying more of a machine gun style gun, right? I mean, I don't think they're fully automatic, but more of a machine gun looking gun. And you place them in there to go do all these arrests on the streets when it's not needed. That type of not needed. Now, I do 100% believe that there are some violent criminals that need to be deported, that need to be treated with a SWAT situation. I'm not going to lie about that. But if you're just doing these, trying to track down these people, trying to do all this, unless it calls for a SWAT situation, your normal street gear should not be SWAT-styled masks, helmets, but full battle rattle, we would call it. That's why I don't agree with the military on the streets, because I believe that the military is not law enforcement in the United States, because the type of law enforcement they conduct in other countries is not the same thing, baby. Okay? So if you're military going door to door in Afghanistan, whole nother world, all right, than it is here. And one of the things that I believe is that if you're going to continue to put people into this role, I know it's not a LARPing role, that they're not just action role playing, but they can start to get that mentality. And one of the things that law enforcement should not have is that mentality. Like, I did not go out. I was in the Coast Guard, but I looked more like a cop. So I did have a bulletproof vest on, soft, not not hard armor, but you just soft, right? Like a cop would wear, and then you'd have your belt and stuff like that. The issue I have is that you're now going out in full battle rattle to do this stuff, and you're interacting all the time with citizens that don't like what you're doing, like it or not, and that Coast Guard deals with Greenpeace sometimes, and we can't just beat the crap out of Greenpeace, right? And you're dealing with civilians. This is a hard job because you're not just dealing with criminals and bad people and very bad people. You also are interacting with civilian U.S. citizens. And guess what? Like it or not, we're not all treated the same. We can, as you would get in Afghanistan to U.S. citizens. We have rights here.
They're ripping families apart. They're sowing chaos on our streets. And in this case, quite literally killing people. So they are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, this was an agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying.
And as you can imagine, Trump had a very different take because he...
No, I do believe that. I believe that he placed himself in a bad situation where if he would, which he did, in a positioning of where he placed himself with the vehicle, as a law enforcement officer, seeing that she was trying to evade, and then drawing the weapon and shooting was a bad. He was not right in that shoot. If I were to look at that from a board as being on the board and just, I'd say that officer, what justification do you believe that her evasion of law enforcement would have caused her to go on and commit other dangerous acts or dangerous felonies if you wouldn't have stopped her? Because that's what they're going to ask you. They're going to say, what authorization to use lethal force, what authorization gave you the impression that her evading arrest and getting away from you would allow her to commit other dangerous felonies if you wouldn't have stopped her? And that's the question you're going to get asked in regards to this when you're shooting a fleeing suspect. Okay? And what is he going to say? She's going to go yell at other people? She was yelling at me, and I was afraid she was going to go yell at other ICE officers? Like, what? That's the question you get asked at a board.
Wants to defend this type of state-sponsored violence against everyone. Doesn't matter if you're an immigrant or not an immigrant. Doesn't matter if you're an American citizen or not. I mean, this is the type of state-sponsored violence that we are now living under in the United States. You don't like the fact that she's trying to evade authorities? That's fine. How about you arrest her? But in that moment, you have a choice to make as an ICE agent. You either gun down and kill an American citizen, or you just move out of the way and you catch up with her later and press charges against her. But that's not what happened. Here's what Trump said. I have just viewed the clip of the event which took place.
Yeah, see you later, brother.
Place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It is a horrible thing to watch. I agree with that part. But he continues, the woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator.
I don't think she was a professional agitator. She was a neighbor, I think, in that area. I think the one that was yelling, or that might not, but it might have been somebody else's phone that was a neighbor.
And the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting.
Okay, disorderly, obstructing, and resisting. I'll give him that.
Who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer?
She didn't run over the ICE officers. And here's what I want to ask you guys too. Again, where are we on a tyrannical government? What does that look like to you? It doesn't matter what side you're on. And are you okay with any government official? It doesn't matter if it was Noam, Trump, anybody lying and saying that the police officer she ran over the police officer, because that's not true. We have a video of that. So, and he didn't say that I heard. He said I just viewed the clip.
Did you see an ICE officer get run over? Because I didn't. Like, the gaslighting is out of control, man. It's out of control. And this is what Trump does. This is the only thing Trump is really good at. He's really good at looking at a fire and telling himself, how can I make this worse? Oh, look, I've got a gallon of gasoline.
And I do feel that anyone that is basically in that situation lying at this point from a point of technically upper management, government, saying that, nope, we watched the video, this is domestic terrorism, and the police officer was ran over. Is that, so my question then to you then is that tyrannical? Is it tyrannical? What, like, that's what I'm trying to ask. Like, what is tyrannical? What is a tyrannical government in your eyes? I have my opinion, which I'd rather have your opinions. Because is it tyrannical? Can they be financially tyrannical? Can they be with taxes? Can they be obviously physically tyrannical? Can they be propagandized? Propaganda? I don't even know what the terminology would be. I'm making it up as I go. Can their propaganda be tyrannical? Like, what does that mean to you guys? And I'm not expecting anybody to go and in any way, take down or revolution type stuff in any way, shape, or form. I just want to know what that word means, because like I said, when I was more conservative, younger, I would hear that. And I mean, again, I'm a Second Amendment person, and I wouldn't give up my firearms. Unfortunately, they were all lost in a boating accident. But what does that mean?
Let me go ahead and pour it all over the fire. There are mass protests taking place in Minnesota right now. Rather than calming things down like a leader would, fire.
She did hit him with her car. No, I didn't see that. I don't think she did hit him with the car. Because, remember, well, no, to be honest, she didn't. Because he fired before. So if he fired before, she could have been dead. She could have been already dead. And the car, after she tensed up with a gunshot wound to the head, might have bumped him. But she didn't. I don't think she hit him with the car.
I love it. Let me just pour gasoline on that. There's more. He says, based on the attached clip, it is hard to believe he is alive. It was
based on the attached clip, it's hard to believe he is alive.
Woman. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. He's talking about the ICE agent. It's hard to believe he is alive. He finds it hard to believe that the ICE agent who didn't get run over is alive, who didn't get hit by the car is alive. He's amazed by that. I am so sick of brain-dead politicians ruling our lives, stealing our money, and terrorizing us. I'm sick of it. Important to note that the agent, again, was not rushed to the hospital. In fact, video shows that the agent that
he just walked away.
Trump is surprised, survived this vicious attack, got in his vehicle and drove away.
All right, hang on, hold that thought. Remember where we parked. 1047.
What the?
Oh, hang on.
Jess, or what we rioters present.
Did you bring the slow motion one? All right, this is this guy.
No! Shit!
He got a shot off and sidestepped. He wasn't hit by the car when he pulled the trigger. Right there, you can see that there's a gap. He sidestepped. He wasn't hit by the car. Like, can you? You've got my phone number on the screen. Can you text me? Like, he wasn't hit by the car.
No! Shame! Oh my! Did you do? I want to read. I know what happened. Urge that.
Let me see with a slow motion video. All right, he's drawn his weapon. He's not hit yet. Draws his weapon, not hit yet. You can see him sidestepping away from the car. He just sidestepped. Drawing his weapon. You ready? Weapon. He took a step away from the front of the car. Weapon out. Sidestepped. Shot. And now his feet are away. There's no way he was hit by the car because you can see his feet right here. Completely nowhere near the car. Weapon. She's turning. The wheels are turned. He's sidestepping away from the wheels. And you can see his feet. His feet are right here. His feet, he's now... I can't do it. Sidestepped. Okay. So I don't see the...
Surprised, survived this vicious attack, got in his vehicle and drove away.
Right, because remember, he got in his vehicle and just drove away.
As for the foot...
You can't see his feet. Well, I can see his feet. So you're gonna have to download the video or watch the video yourself, and then you'll see his feet. But I can see his feet on my screen over here. So sorry if you can't see it on here, but there's plenty of videos of it.
Footage that I showed you. I want to talk a little bit about the witness, what she saw, because she did mention that the victim here attempted to block the ICE agents, and that probably upset them, and that's probably why they felt in their minds it was justified to rob a human being of her life. So the witness who took the video, Caitlin Callinson, said she was on a walk when she saw an ICE vehicle.
She gassed it. No, if she would have gassed it. Oh, you can hear the revving. Yeah.
Stuck in the snow. As more.
Do you believe she was trying to evade? Or do you believe she was trying to run him over? Why didn't she turn into him then? She could have turned the wheel the other way. Right? Or no?
ICE vehicles arrived, bystanders blew whistles in protest, and the driver of the SUV tried to block the ICE vehicles. And the part that really disgusts me is the following. After the shots were fired, the driver was completely slumped over in the vehicle, said Emily Heller, another witness. Federal agents
doesn't have to be hit.
Wouldn't allow a man who said he was a physician to examine the driver, Heller said. Emergency medical.
So let me ask a question. If somebody, he doesn't have to be hit. If somebody is evading the police, they're trying to evade. They turn the wheel, they're trying to go this way, you're standing on this side, and they're trying to go the other way. Do you guys think that police officers can just light the car up like Bonnie and Clyde? Like just light it up? Tommy gun that bad boy? Is that? I'm just asking a question.
Technicians arrived 15 minutes later, she said. So that was bad enough. I didn't know if what the witness was saying here was true. Sometimes witnesses, their recollection isn't entirely accurate, but it turns out we have video showing the ICE agents preventing the doctor from reaching the woman who had just been shot.
Okay, now here's where I'm going to argue. I'm going to push back a little bit on this one.
Take a look.
Go check a pulse. No, back up now. I'm a physician.
Hey, listen, we understand. We got EMS coming. I get it. Just give us a second.
Okay, so if somebody just walks up and says, I'm a doctor, okay? I'm a physician. I'm a doctor. That doesn't mean I'm going to let you into this crime scene, okay? So a couple things are happening. One, I don't know you're a doctor. I don't know what type of doctor you are, and I have no idea if you're a doctor. I know in the movies, people are like, I'm a doctor, let me in. That might not be the real life, okay? One, ICE doesn't know who this guy is, what his credentials are, if he's an actual doctor, or what he does, right? They just don't know. And they know that the ambulance, those are paramedics. They know that. So you now have a crime scene. This isn't a car accident as much. This is a crime scene. Somebody was shot. So you can't just let anyone in to that crime scene to move the body, to, things are going on. You have no idea who this is. Just because he says, I'm a doctor, let me in, I might not let you in because I don't know if you're actually a doctor or not. So I'm not defending the situation. I'm not just saying, but the problem is that right now, ICE These people, I'll guarantee, I will bet money that nobody on this site, nobody here, none of these ICE officers have ever shot anyone before or been a part of a shooting. So a lot of the stuff that they're doing now is, oh shit, what do we do? I mean, how do we keep the scene? What should we be doing? Well, I can't just let anybody into this body. So I can't blame them for not letting this guy in just because he says, I'm a doctor. You know what I mean? It's not like he was showing up, in an ambulance or an emergency vehicle or, something like that. He's a guy in a jacket that says, I'm a physician.
We have medics on scene. We have our own medics.
Where are they? Where are they?
Again, they have medics on the scene. Medics, they might have somebody that is a first responder that is there. Now, technically, I was a first responder in the Coast Guard. You're basically just CPR, to be honest. Stop the bleeding, apply pressure, things like that. And then you have like EMTs, and then you have paramedics, and then it kind of goes up the chain of, I think paramedics are above a nurse, some nurses maybe. I don't know. I think it depends on what you are, what nurse level you're at. I think a paramedic is kind of also, depending on where you are as a nurse level. I don't know. Teach would.
Well, it depends on the level of nurse. If
yeah. So
RN, LPN, all of that stuff.
Right.
But for the most part, no. They're medics or EMTs are trained first aid, first response, how to keep you alive to get you somewhere.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, I was a first responder. I wasn't an EMT. And then we had an EMT that was at our station, and then we also had a paramedic. So I guess all those levels. But I don't know. These guys don't know. They don't know this guy's a doc.
Hey, relax, you just killed my neighbor. You caught your butter in the face. You killed my neighbor. How do you show up to work every day? How the do you do this every day? You're killing my neighbors. You're stealing my neighbors. What the man? So Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty.
She doesn't have to get unalived for it to be a weapon. I don't know what that means.
Has issued a statement. The statement was issued soon after the shooting, saying she is pushing hard for a local investigation, which is the only way to ensure full transparency and review by our office. Now, look, everything that I'm sharing with you is everything that I have seen, everything that's been reported and disseminated since this story broke. Again, it's a developing story, and there might be more information coming out. I'm certain there will be more information coming out soon. But I want to talk a little bit about.
No, not that they didn't have it. You have training to handle the situation, and then you resort to your training. Nobody's on the scene. Don't let anybody in the scene. Rope it off. Tape it off. Nobody can get in there. Stuff like that, right? So you can't just let people, innocent bystanders or people in the crowd, come in to this situation, right? He's a doctor. Where's your doctor gear? Where's your equipment? You know what I mean? This isn't like the TV shows where, okay, what happens if this girl had some type of blood disease that the doctor starts doing stuff and now he catches it? You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things that you can't just, it's not that they're not trained, is that they resort to their training, and they resort to their training and only their training. And it's difficult to think outside the box. So I can't blame them for not letting somebody in that says, hey, I'm a doctor. See, FAFO will be coming to MAGA. Again, I don't condone any violence.
What's been happening in the backdrop of this tragic incident? Because this is not the first time that under the Trump administration, ICE agents have carried out acts of violence against human beings, claim that they did so in self-defense, and then later we find that the evidence shows otherwise. So I'll give you specific examples. In October, for instance, October of 2025, a 30-year-old teacher's assistant by the name of Miramar Martinez was driving around Chicago to essentially warn Latino members of the community there that immigration agents were coming.
Not a crime.
U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents were riding in a car behind her. One of them aimed an assault rifle at her and shouted, "Do something, bitch," before opening fire.
So again, I'm asking you, when are you guys okay with that?
Video of the incident shows Martinez, an American citizen, was hit 5 times, shot 5 times, and miraculously survived. The agents claimed she rammed their car and they arrested her. It was all in self-defense, right? Except it wasn't. Turns out that Martinez's lawyers provided video evidence that contradicted that claim, and it showed that the agents were the ones who actually rammed her car. And the prosecutors, by the way, dropped the case. So the court case produced text messages from the agent who shot her, bragging about his feat. Quote, "I fired 5 rounds and she had 7 holes. Put that in your book, boys." Where are all the American patriots who claimed that they would fight back against a tyrannical government? Because this is state-sponsored violence against Americans. And it's been going on for months, by the way. This happened in October. Put that in your book, boys. I shot a woman multiple times after we rammed her car and then turned around and lied and said she rammed us. So we had to do it in self-defense.
So the first one, basically, they dropped the charges because somebody showed that she didn't do what they said that she did. Okay.
These are thugs. These are disgusting, masked thugs who are basically emboldened by the thugs in the White House right now. So the Trace tracked ICE-related shootings from January 7th through December 8th of last year. So about a full year. And here's what they found. There have been 28 such incidents, including 14 shootings by ICE officials. They include the shootings of 3 people observing or documenting ICE raids, the shootings of 5 people driving away from traffic stops or evading an enforcement action, and the September 30th raid on a Chicago apartment building during which half-asleep tenants, many of whom were American citizens, by the way, and their children were held at gunpoint. At least 4 people have been killed, and this is, by the way, up to December 7th. So obviously the number has increased since, but as of December, at least 4 people have been killed and 5 others have been injured. So tragically, the number of people who've been killed is at least 5 now by ICE agents. And claiming self-defense, again, is really a big tactic that they have repeatedly used. So here's another example. CNN reported another case back in October. Car crashes and rammings take center stage in immigration.
Thank you so much for the description.
Crackdown. So this had to do with the case of a woman by the name of Diane Figueroa. So back in October, ICE officers in an SUV struck the car of the Chicago resident who's a paralegal. Now DHS was making an arrest and hit her car. And as they were trying to get away from a crowd of people protesting, which the victim was part of, this happened. So despite her not being at fault for anything, the federal agents, by the way, surrounded her car and then they dragged her onto the ground. And that's what you're about to see in this next video.
All right, so this car, and this might have been, hang on. There's a person in front screaming.
Run over, y'all gonna get a whole lot for one.
And he takes off. Now he's on the wrong side of the road. And I think what happened, I don't know if that was an accident, because he's on over here focusing, and he's probably turning the wheel this way, probably looking over at the person that was protesting, and she was coming down this alleyway. So I don't think she rammed him. I don't think he rammed her to stop her. I think it was a car accident.
Yeah! Hit and run, hit and run! Hit and run, hit and run! You hit it!
And then they all jump out of the car and
Yo! What's right?
Rip her out of the car.
You hit her! You guys hit her! Y'all got no heart, for real! No heart! No heart!
Get off!
So should this be happening to legal U.S. citizens? Like, what did she do to get ripped out of the car? They turned and hit her. What did she do?
Crazy! She's a female!
Get off her right now!
You guys hit her! How you guys gonna arrest her?
Get off!
You guys hit her!
And like I said, they have, I don't know if they're machine guns, meaning able to, shoot fully automatic.
Man, how y'all gonna arrest her?
After that, they put her in an unmarked vehicle and they left her in that car in the middle of the street with the keys still in the ignition. And if you're wondering, well, she must have done something wrong. I'm sure they pressed some charges against her. No, she was eventually released hours after the arrest without any charges.
So what, if there's no charges, they hit her, they then approached the vehicle as a dangerous traffic stop situation. They rip her out of the vehicle. technically assault her, detain her, just to release her? So, again, I'm asking you guys, what... Let me fix this. What is a tyrannical government look like? Is it any of this? Is it any of this at all? To be honest, is what I'm asking. Not that we're going to do anything about it. I'm just trying to figure out what it looks like.
So congratulations, America. You're all working hard, you're paying your taxes, you're seeing your money robbed by your federal government to fund foreign wars and essentially oil seizures on behalf of oil companies who I'm now learning that the profits from said oil isn't going to be sent to the Treasury. Trump announced this apparently. It's going to be sent to offshore accounts.
Yeah, that's true. I looked that up when she said that. I'm like, wait a minute, let me look this up. That's actually true. They're looking to send it to offshore accounts.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Making America great again. America first. Federal agents shooting and killing American citizens and pretending like they had to do so because they were in imminent danger.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.
A woman in Minneapolis.
So I was going to cover some other stuff, but I think I'll save that. No other call-ins? No other call-ins to tell me? I just want to know your opinion. And then my question is that if you're okay with that, are you okay with Babbitt on January 6th? Are you okay with that? To me, this was somebody trying to get away. Babbitt was somebody trying to get in. Right? So I'm just trying to figure this out. What does a tyrannical government look like, if not this? To be honest, what does it look like? And I'm shocked I haven't gotten any. And maybe the question's hard because I'm shocked I haven't gotten any conservatives to call in, any MAGA people to call in on this one. Because I thought it was a realistic question. I thought it was a good question. I don't know, let me read a little bit of these comments. I was a complete idiot. They were dancing when Kirk got shot. Who was? She was? Let's see here. Same officer that was with Nick Shirley on his interview was the same one talking to reporters, reported unalived woman telling her to stop moving. And there's too many people recording. It's a psyop. I honestly don't. What's a psyop? What's a psyop? I'm confused. MAGA against the First Amendment. I didn't think they were. Maybe they are. Did that change? It changes. So I'm like I said. Phones are open. Matter of fact. Phone ring in. I know this guy, though, so I'm not worried about this guy. Hi, how can I help you, fine sir?
What's up, Sage? How you doing?
What does a tyrannical government look like?
I don't know. It kind of looked like what happened when that Minnesota woman got shot in the face.
Yeah, I would think so, right?
I mean, I'm disappointed at all the quote-unquote hardcore, we need a strong militia and shit, but you're not going out and hunting down this ICE agent.
In a video game.
I mean, I don't know what instigating the situation looks like when one car drives around the lady that's obviously not stuck in ice. Then the next car, obviously not stuck in any ice, pulls up, stops, gets out, similar to the last time we saw that. I look like a Hispanic lady. I don't know her ethnicity.
Right.
But when the cops rammed her, they just went, oh, shit, let's get out and confront her and act like she hit us and then, beat the shit out of her hog tire and throw her in the back of the car. This is a repeated pattern with these guys.
Yeah, and
these are these guys that were bullied in high school that got a badge and now want to act tough.
And my question is, even
You
if it's not that, it's like, when do we step up and say, whoa, that's, you guys can't do that. That's too much. Like, I'm trying to figure out, like, even if we're not going to go at our government with two arms, but we're actually just going to say that's too much. I'm shocked at now how many people in the chat are okay with this. They're okay with it. And I don't understand, like, to me, it's like, at what point are we not okay with this, to be honest?
I mean, it depends on who their daddy is.
Yeah.
I mean, if their daddy's Donald Trump, then they're just going to do whatever their daddy says.
Right.
So, plain and simple. Daddy says that it was justified, and he got, quote-unquote, run over, even though he literally walked from the point he shot her to the vehicle,
and drove away,
back to the SUV, then jumped in it and drove away.
Which, that's
he
another
was
thing.
So hurt.
Whoa, that's another thing. Right off the bat, when you're involved in a shooting as a law enforcement, you literally cannot leave the scene. You can't leave the scene.
Right.
Like, you gotta, that, in theory, somebody takes your weapon. Because that is now.
He was making phone calls and texting people, and
you
like
can't,
it wasn't shit.
Correct. Like, I can't, and we're taught this. You relinquish your weapon to another officer, because that's now evidence. You can't talk to anybody. You can't go anywhere. They don't want you getting your story straight. You get assigned somebody to basically observe you, to stay with you, so that nobody's talking to you. You can't just drive away in any way, shape, or form. Not allowed. I don't care what you see in the movies.
Yeah.
That's not what we do.
If she had intent, like they keep projecting between what's-her-face's interview with ICE, I forget the name, I don't care. She's a bimbo hired by Donald Trump. But keep using the thing like she was trying to hurt them and call her a terrorist. If she was trying to ram them, why would she wave them to go by?
I don't know. Well, she wasn't. That was just it.
Why would she let the first car go, but not the second? So, I mean, none of this shit's going to hold up in court. I think he's going to be found guilty.
There was I don't know if this is true. Somebody sent me a text that says that there was a motion to subpoena all footage, calls, and texts from the shooting yesterday, but it was denied very quickly. There is a video floating around of the hearing and the subpoena. I'll have to look into that. I just don't know. So many things happened here, like I said. I'm trying to be honest in regards to some of the situations. Like I said, the guy that yelled, "I'm a doctor." I don't know you're a doctor. I can't just let you in a crime scene. You know what I'm saying at this point? So I can see them saying no to that. Like, I know that's not everybody wants to hear, but I can see them saying no to that. You can't let the guy that just shot, like, he can't wash his hands.
An earliest response to get help, you should render aid. Nobody else.
Well, the police are supposed to render aid. So basically, law enforcement somebody at law enforcement should have been applying pressure to the wounds. I mean, I don't know where the wounds were, but a police officer. That's what I said. We were all first responders in the Coast Guard. One of us was an EMT. Yeah. One of us was a paramedic. Not on the boat, but at the station. So if it was just the first responders, I have to do CPR, even if they're gone. I have to perform CPR the entire boat trip back until I hand that person off to a paramedic. I have to keep doing CPR. Yeah, I can't just be like, yep, he's dead. I can't do that. I have to keep giving CPR. Okay? The whole time. Now we swap off.
Let's face it, though. Let's face it. None of these guys were doing any sort of their training whatsoever.
They weren't.
Calmly walk into the car, you know.
And
like,
that guy,
like, oh, yeah, go ahead, call 911 as he's walking back. Like, you shot her.
Right.
What do you mean you're waiting till you walk to the car?
Right.
And then walking halfway back to your buddies.
Yeah.
They go, yeah, call 911.
Right. And this is the
situation. And then everyone's
situation.
standing around with their dick in their fucking hand.
And they can't wash. I mean, he can't leave because he can't wash his hands because they have to swab his hands for gunshot residue because they have to verify both, you know, with video and physical evidence that he shot the weapon. Like, they have to have his weapon. He can't just take his weapon and go away. Like, so, you know, it wasn't my weapon, you know, swap out barrels. Like, they literally he take his weapon. They take your weapon. Here's your weapon. Here's my weapon. And they hand that off and they put it in an evidence bag. Like, this is This is an investigation, and none of this was done. Now, I don't know what ICE is trained. I was never ICE. I'm just saying that half the stuff that was happening. Hang on. Okay. All right.
Good.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm good. Somebody sent me a text message I just had to respond to. I'm also moving some freight stuff too.
I mean, did you ever slow the video down?
She did.
Frame by frame. Like, he was pulling his gun before she even went forward.
Right. So he got in front of the vehicle. No. She was in reverse. She went to forward. Her tires spun because her tires spun a little bit, because if you watch it in real time, it's a little bit different. He pulled the weapon. Yeah. Here's the slow-mo right here.
That she wasn't trying to run into him. She's trying to evade.
All right. She's now in forward. Right there. They spin.
That she wasn't.
They're going to spin right here. And most likely she went from reverse to forward. And the tire spins. Now he's drawing his weapon. So the vehicle is moving forward. And he just drew his weapon. He draws the weapon pointed full out press. But again, he placed himself in a bad position. You don't put yourself in front of the vehicle. You just don't. I don't have to. You're not a felon that just committed a dangerous, unaliving event situation. I don't need to stop you because, like I said, they're going to ask him on the board, officer, what did she do that made you feel like if she got away from you by evading you, she was going to continue to conduct felonies, dangerous felonies, and put the civilians at harm, that you decided to unalive her rather than just, because we do this with motorcycles. Like a cop car can't catch a motorcycle. Just can't happen. So do you break off pursuit?
But you don't open fire on them.
You don't open fire with them. Do you break off pursuit? Try to get their plate number, let them go? Yes, that's the rules. That they just do that. So if she's getting away, I mean, you can just get her plate number, officer. Get her plate number. I can get her plate number right now. JK6K3C.
Even I look at it this, and I was watching Cold Bear last night. Even I kind of agree with this. Even if you give him the first shot for the initial car coming forward, even if you give him just that, the other two shots through the side window of the driver's window are unnecessary.
Correct.
You're out of harm's way.
Let me jump on this other call because I'm going to take one other call.
Call from
Jeremy.
Oh, we'll get Jeremy. Okay.
Hello?
Yeah. Is this Jeremy?
Yeah.
Hi, Jeremy.
Yes.
What's going on, brother?
Yeah, I just believe that was a justifiable shoot.
Okay, can you explain why?
Yeah. Well, can I ask you a question? If you were standing in front of a vehicle and it started driving towards you, would you believe that could be used as a deadly weapon?
It could, in some aspect, yes.
Okay. So is it reasonable to believe that the officer thought that vehicle was going to be used as a deadly weapon when it started driving towards him?
No.
Why?
I'm ex-law enforcement. So he placed himself in an improper position for the vehicle.
It doesn't matter where he placed him himself. He was in front of the vehicle.
No,
right?
It does
the vehicle
matter.
started moving towards him. It doesn't matter where he placed himself.
It does matter.
No, it doesn't.
For law enforcement, we're trained. It does matter. That's why we're trained.
But if you're in front of the vehicle,
no.
At that point, he's in front of the vehicle. It doesn't matter
he
that
was
he placed
not.
himself there.
No.
If he didn't place himself, it doesn't matter. He's in front of the vehicle.
No, it does matter. You're taking untrained perspective compared to trained perspective. They're not comparable.
It does not matter. If I was standing in front of a vehicle, and it's not smart of me to go stand in front of a vehicle, right? But if I go stand in front of a vehicle, and that person
starts driving towards me.
But they didn't. She
who gets
didn't
the
drive.
right of way?
She
Who gets
was
the right of way,
evading.
pedestrian or the car?
She was evading. She was turning away from you, not driving at you.
But how does the officer know in that moment that she's not driving towards him?
Because
trying to hit him.
do you understand officers are trained differently than you?
How would that officer know that?
Because
she is not
when
coming
I'm
for him?
okay, because this is what I'm trying to explain to you. So as a law enforcement officer, he started to place himself at the driver corner of the vehicle. Now, why did he start doing that? One, that is a position to come around the vehicle that he could easily sidestep away from the vehicle. The wheels were turned and the vehicle wasn't coming at him. The vehicle was turning away from him when he shot. Correct? Now, the second question I'm going to ask you is
in those 2 seconds.
Okay, so let me ask you another question.
Their tires to see that the car was turning away.
When does the threat end?
When does the threat end?
Yes.
I guess when he's out of harm's way.
Okay, when he's out of harm's way. Then why did he fire 2 additional shots when out of harm's way?
Because cops are trained to shoot
to shoot to kill? No.
Not to kill, to get rid of the threat.
No, there was no. There wasn't. What was the threat?
That this woman tried to drive at him.
Okay, but once he fired 2 additional shots, now we go to training. That's amazing. We don't go to. You know what's funny? We go to training. When I bring up training, you say no. When you bring up training, we're going to go yes. Once he came around the vehicle and fired 2 additional shots, what was the threat from the side of the vehicle?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what his thinking was. But was that first shot okay then? Because the 2 additional shots, was the first shot okay?
No.
He was in front of the car?
No.
Oh, okay then. Why are you bringing up the?
Because I'm trying to establish that the position.
You just needed to argue that the first shot wasn't okay. Why was the first shot not okay if he was in front of the vehicle?
Because he placed himself in front of the vehicle to stop the vehicle. The vehicle was attempting to evade. We see this with motorcycles a lot. Okay? A lot. You can't open fire on a motorcycle just because they tried to evade.
Yeah, a motorcycle's not going to kill you if it runs you. I mean,
yes, they can. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. A stopped car.
It's not like a car.
Hang on. Wait. Do you believe that the vehicle of turning its wheel and going away from you enough that you sidestep?
The officer doesn't know it's turning its wheel.
Yeah,
he's looking at the driver and seeing that the car's coming toward. He's not looking at her tires.
Okay, she can see him turning the wheel. And do you ever look into a? Do you understand the steering wheel can be seen from the windshield, right?
Have you ever been in a situation like this? Are you sitting there just meticulously picking out every little piece? Oh, the steering wheel's turning. She's turning the steering wheel.
Yes.
Oh, the tires. Look at the tires.
What I'm trying to
you have seconds.
You understand that as law enforcement, it's called attention to detail, and we're trained that. Yes, we're trained. I was in the Coast Guard, so my attention to detail
I know attention to detail. Every military trains attention to detail, not just law enforcement.
Well, yes, I didn't need, well, yes, so do fire departments and everything else. So, but I'm trying to explain to you that, yes, they are trained attention to detail.
But it's literally seconds, dude. You can't pick out every little tiny thing in seconds.
Yeah, if he felt that she was going to drive forward, he could have continued. Why did he stand in front of the car and stay there? It was a car that he...
Why did he drive towards an officer?
No,
Why did
hang
he
on.
drive towards an officer?
He wasn't.
Yes.
She wasn't driving towards the officer at that time. He placed himself in front of a vehicle.
And then she put it in drive and drove towards an officer.
She didn't drive towards the officer.
He was in front of the car, and she put it in drive and hit the gas. Did
Okay.
she not?
And she was trying to evade. So my question to you is...
How do you know her intentions?
Because she turned the wheel. I'm looking into a vehicle. Let's say I'm 6 foot, and I'm looking into a vehicle. I am looking at what the person's doing. If I'm literally looking, is she turning the wheel? Is she looking at me? Does she see me? What is going on? That is my focal point. If I see her hand over hand turning the wheel, I know she's not looking to hit me if I'm on the other side of the vehicle. If you don't think that he saw hand over hand over hand over hand, he's looking at her hands. Because I am looking at your hands. Are you going to shoot to the windshield with a gun? A law enforcement officer
we all know
saw those
your
hands.
Fat ass hasn't been in that situation before.
We
all know you have never been in that situation before. So stop acting like you would.
Do you think that a law enforcement officer doesn't look at somebody's hands?
What?
Do you think a law enforcement officer doesn't look at hands, where your hands are?
No, I know, but yeah, law enforcement officers.
Okay,
make sure you're not reaching
so when you turn the wheel, where are your hands?
But so he's not. He sees a car coming at him.
No, he didn't.
Sage.
He didn't. No. What I'm trying to explain to you is
You're
you are
okay.
assuming.
You're straight up lying right now.
No, you're assuming he saw. All he was looking at was the bumper of the car. He was looking at
her intentions were to not hit him. You're assuming. We don't know her intentions.
Yeah, but we do know her intentions because we saw her turning the wheel to evade him.
Okay, so in the first,
wait, stop. Let's slow this down. Let's slow this down. Let's slow this down and let's take out him and just see what we saw. Did we see her try to run him over, or did we see her try to evade? Take him out. Just me and you talking about that car. Did that car look like it was trying to evade him and get away from them? Or did
no ICE officer? She was trying to flee.
Okay, perfect. So we saw she was trying to flee. Okay, so we've just established she was not trying to run him over. She was trying to flee. Do you agree?
Yeah, but if there's somebody in front of your car,
no. Listen, one step at a time with this, bro. We're gonna go one step at a time. Me and you both agree that she was trying to flee the guy that was trying to rip her out of the car from the side, and there was a guy in the front. She was trying to flee the scene. Do you agree with that statement?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Now, the cop coming around the car saw the same thing, and why didn't he think she was trying to flee? Because now what he's looking at, I can tell you what he's looking at. He's looking at the person in the vehicle, the driver, and what she's doing with her hands. He's looking at that. And if she is turning the wheel away from him, which I guarantee you he saw that, he'd be stupid if he didn't. Because that's what he was looking at. How do I know this? He was pointing the gun at her body. So there's no way he didn't see the steering wheel, which is right there, being turned away from him. Do you agree with that?
Are you done?
Do you agree with that statement?
No, I don't agree with that statement. I don't agree with that statement.
What do you think he was
looking at? How many
at?
times did I fucking say it?
What do you think he was looking at?
I think he was looking at her, obviously.
Okay. So do you think that he wouldn't have saw the steering wheel being turned away from him?
Gun drawn, he's looking at her.
Hang on. Do you think hang on, I want to take this one step at a time. I want to take it one step at a time. Do you think he wouldn't have saw the steering wheel being turned away from him?
Well, when you showed that slow-mo video, right, the tires were initially slightly turned to the left. So she's turning to the right to what? Straighten them up?
No.
Or maybe go right. I don't know.
She didn't move until the wheels were turned. So do you believe that he did not see the steering wheel being turned away from him?
Yes, that's what I believe. I don't it's minutes or seconds, dude. A second and a half to 2 seconds.
Okay.
Right?
So let's say the first shot is just, let's give you the first shot's justifiable. The other two shots that ended up being the kill shots are not. So is that a justifiable shoot or not?
I think all the shots are justifiable.
But you just said, okay, then why were the...
Because what she tried to do in this cop
hang on. What justification for... Okay.
No, listen. What this woman tried to do was run a cop over. She is a threat.
But she didn't.
Somebody else.
But she didn't. So evidence will show that she
died.
didn't.
She didn't because she died.
Hang on. Evidence will show that she didn't.
Didn't what?
Didn't run the cop over.
She tried to.
She didn't try to. Evidence shows that she did not. Here's the problem that you don't understand.
She drive the car towards the cop.
She didn't turn hard towards the cop. She didn't turn hard towards the cop. She turned away from the cop. Evidence shows. Hang on. We just both agreed that evidence shows she turned away from the cop. Yes or no?
Yeah, I mean, she turned to the right.
Perfect. So now the evidence shows she did not try to run the cop over. She turned away. Now.
But I'm saying.
No, hang on.
This is all after the fact.
Hang on. No, it's not after the fact. This is what.
If you're the cop.
Listen, it was not after the fact. The video was actually during the fact. Okay, now.
But I'm saying, if you're a cop in that situation, you can't break it down piece by piece, like we can after seeing the video.
We can. That's what they're going to do to him when they. That's what boards do. So my question. Here's my question to you.
That's what they will do.
Here's
but
my
the
question.
In this situation.
Here's my question to you.
Break it down like that in those seconds.
Here's my question to you. Okay, let's say the first shot was justifiable. What gave him authorization to fire 2 more shots?
I already told you.
No, you didn't. I'm asking.
I already said it's because she drove the car at him. He believed she was a threat because she tried to run him over.
Okay, but
and so he thought she was a threat to other people.
Oh, that's not going to pass the sniff test, bro.
We'll see. Yeah, I doubt this guy will.
Listen to me. You can't say that I thought you were going to run other people over.
Because you tried to run me over?
They didn't try to run him over. They're going to. Do you understand that? Okay, let me explain to you how you can.
Dude,
let me explain to you
understanding what I'm saying.
Let me explain to you how you can authorize deadly force on a fleeing suspect. Okay, the person has to have been visually committed a felony. A dangerous felony, like a shooting, something like that. They have to have committed a dangerous felony that you saw. Like let's say I was in a boat, okay, and I just saw you shoot a bunch of people in a boat, and your boat makes it to shore, and I can get off the boat and I start chasing you, and I believe that if I don't put you down, you're gonna shoot other people or take somebody hostage. That gives you authorization to shoot a fleeing suspect. Okay? So you can't just say, I thought she was going to run somebody else over because that's a dumb state. That's not going to, no one would let that happen. Or we'd be able to shoot everybody on a motorcycle. Because a lot of times a cop will grab the motorcycle and the motorcycle will take off and it will swerve around the cop. They cannot open fire on a motorcycle. You cannot shoot a fleeing suspect unless they have been witnessed committing a dangerous felony. Do you understand that? And that's a good thing, bro. Yes. That's a good thing. Because the minute I don't want to stop for a cop, you can't open fire on me with a Tommy gun. We're not Bonnie and Clyde, okay? So he had no authorization to fire the other 2 shots. He was no longer in danger, in way of danger. There's no justification for those other 2 in any way, shape, or form. That's the truth.
But there is justification for the first one.
If I give that to you, which I don't, you're going with that. And we can debate the first shot. We cannot debate the other 2 because there's zero justification.
Justifiable because he's in front of the car. It goes through the windshield. No, he's in front of the car.
I can shoot through a windshield and not be in front of the car. You know that, right?
I mean, if you shoot directly sideways and you're not aiming at the person,
I can shoot from an angle. I can shoot from an angle that you would not be able to hit me. From 0, because remember, the car wasn't doing 60 miles an hour at him. It was doing 0 to 5 miles an hour by the time it got by him. Do you realize that? If a car was coming to me at 60 miles an hour, different. A car was at 0 to maybe 10 miles an hour, and most likely it was 5 miles an hour when it went by him. So the car was doing 5 miles an hour. 0 to 5 miles an hour was the speed limit of the vehicle while it was passing the cop. Okay? I can easily shoot in the side of a window and not be in harm's way of the vehicle hitting me because of the distance I was from the vehicle, the speed of the vehicle. Does that make sense? This is why I'm telling you, any good law enforcement board will look at this, and this would not be a good shoot. And I know you're going to disagree with that, but I'm telling you that they're going to say, where was your training officer?
He's going to be found not guilty.
No, they're going to say, where was your training officer? Where was your training? What did your training tell you to do in that situation? Did it tell you to stand in front of the vehicle?
You're the expert law enforcement officer, Sage.
Do you think, where am I wrong?
You're just claiming to be an expert law enforcement officer.
Where am I wrong?
Just because you went to the fucking Coast Guard.
Where am I wrong?
That He doesn't have the right to shoot when a car's moving.
No.
towards
In
him.
regards to the training, do you think law enforcement officers are trained to place themselves in a position that they can be hit by a car?
No,
No.
I'm sure that's not
Of course not.
a smart idea.
No, of course not. We're trained to place ourselves in positions to not be hit by vehicles. So his training, the first thing they're going to say was, where was your training and why did you place yourselves in front of a vehicle? Why did you do that? No law enforcement agency is going to say, yeah, we're trained to place ourselves in front of the vehicle. They're trained not to, for safety reasons alone.
Well, here, let me ask you this.
Sure.
If you were in a car, and a cop was telling you to get out,
yes,
and there was another cop standing in front of your car,
yes,
would you hit the gas?
Would I hit the gas? I would not know.
And drive.
I would not know. But you're asking me a question based on me. I can't.
Yeah,
I
why
don't
would
know
you not
what
hit
was
the
in
gas
the
and drive
mind of the
towards
person.
an-
I
towards-
can't.
Towards an officer that's in front of your car.
No, but if you would have asked that of my wife, she'd say yes.
No, but why would you not drive towards an officer that's in front of your car?
Because my mindset of law enforcement is different than other people's mindset of law enforcement. So you can't just say, what would I do in this situation?
Why would your wife drive away?
Because my wife is different than me.
Is she fucking retarded?
Well, she's not retarded, no.
That's a stupid thing to do. You might want to teach her.
No, my wife has a completely different mindset. She has my wife has a different. Are you new to the show?
No,
my wife has been institutionalized 6 times.
An officer and not
hang on. Well, let's go. Let's go. My wife's been.
Tell your wife not to do that.
Well, my wife's been institutionalized.
I'm trying to help you out,
bro. Let me finish. My wife's been institutionalized 6 times. She has agoraphobic, panic attacks, anxiety. She has all kinds of mental issues. Yes. So if people showed up with a mask and guns and tried to pull her out of the vehicle, she would panic. She has panic attacks. She has been treated for things like this for over 20 years. That's why I work from home, and that's why we basically never leave home, because she can't do that.
You're not a truck driver.
So no, but it's been 20 years. It gets worse as she gets older. So what I'm trying to explain to you is that her mental state is different than my mental state. So you can't justify what I would do in a situation to what somebody else would do in a situation and say, see? Because other people are going to respond differently. There are times that I have run into a storm. I can stay calm under pressure. Okay? Other people cannot. They panic and they flip out and they freeze. So you can't base one person's determination of a situation and say, well, what would you do in this situation? And say, see? So she was wrong. You can't do that. Because what you will do in a situation, some of the stuff that you have not done.
Police officers when they give you lawful orders.
When they give lawful orders?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I missed the beginning part of that.
I said it's obviously the wrong thing to do is to drive away.
Why do we see so many motorcyclists run from cops?
Because they don't want to get a ticket.
Why do we see so many people committing crimes?
Some people think it's fun.
So what I'm trying to explain to you is you're basing it on a logical person that probably doesn't commit any crimes. And I just gave you examples of, I could show you thousands of people not doing that type of stuff.
But we know the results of these actions, right? Like these people that commit these crimes, they either weigh the benefits of the crime over the consequences, or they just don't care about the consequences at all, right? So we know that there's consequences to these crimes if they are caught.
Correct, I understand that, but okay, I understand that. But what I'm trying to explain to you is that, so if somebody flees from the cops, do we shoot them?
If the cop believes his life is in danger, because the car's moving towards him, right?
Nope.
Because he's in front of the car.
No.
If you're a reasonable thinking person, right? You're going to see a person in front of your car, and you're not going to hit the gas.
Okay. Again, she didn't. Again, we both agree she did not go to hit him. So the only person that might have believed that was the cop, correct? Because all the evidence shows she wasn't looking to hit him. She was looking to drive to evade him.
Could have thought the same thing.
Okay.
Right?
Hang on. I'm trying to establish this with you. All the evidence shows that she was not at this point, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say so.
Okay, perfect. Now, if I'm on the board and I'm going to say, officer, what were you looking at the vehicle? I was looking at the person in the vehicle. Did you see the steering wheel of this? No. You didn't see the steering wheel? No. You weren't looking at her hands to see if she had a firearm? Well, yeah. Okay, where were her hands on the steering wheel? What was she doing with her hands?
Assuming what he's going to say. Now you're just putting what he's going to say. You're just making shit up right now, right? We don't know what he saw. And that's the thing. You're just trying to make shit up.
I'm not making shit up. I'm telling you what cops are looking at. Okay, what makes you think that the cop doesn't look at somebody's hands?
No, we know the cop looks at somebody's hands.
Okay.
But it's the cop.
Here's the problem. You're going from an untrained person. You're looking at this from an aspect of an.
You talk so much.
You're looking at this from an aspect of an untrained person. Cops are trained, right? Cops are trained, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you're looking at this from an aspect of an untrained person. I'm looking at this from an aspect of a trained person. The same way when I look at CDL drivers, a CDL driver is a trained professional driver. They are held to a higher standard than a regular person driving a car.
Yeah.
Correct?
It's not that hard to get a fucking CDL.
Do you have one?
I have my pilot's license. That's a bit harder.
That's not what I asked you.
It's a bit harder.
That's not what I asked you.
Helicopter.
That's not what I asked you.
It's not hard to get a CDL. I drove a fucking truck in the military.
Then why do we have so many truck drivers getting into accidents? Again, I'm going to ask you a question again. I'm going to ask you a question right now. Do you have a CDL license?
He's not the brightest fucking tool in the shed.
Do you have a CDL license?
No.
Okay. So it's not. I have seen people. It's harder than you think to get for some people to get a CDL, right?
For some people, because it's a lot of low IQ people trying to do it.
Okay, so let me ask a quick question. So do we hold CDL drivers to a higher standard than regular car drivers?
Yes.
Okay. So what was your point to say that it's not hard to get a license? What was your point to that, other than just to be like? Do you see the pivoting? So law enforcement officers are held to. Do you believe law enforcement officers should be held to a higher standard than regular civilians?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that they get more training than regular civilians?
Yes.
Okay. So you're throwing out all of this officer's training and saying, well, he shouldn't have placed himself in that position. We're trained not to. None of us are trained to put ourselves in front of a vehicle in any way, shape, or form. He placed himself in a bad position. So that's one. And then when the car did start to move, he drew his weapon rather than he could have just sidestepped. He did not need to draw his weapon. The amount of time it took him to draw his weapon, he could have stepped away. Do you understand that? So you can't say, I'm drawing the weapon and going to shoot you, when if she was going to drive forward, he could have just stepped away in the same amount of time as drawing his weapon. So you can't say that he assumed he was going to be run over, so he drew his weapon and shot. Because it wasn't like he didn't have any place to go. She wasn't doing 100 miles an hour. She was doing 0 to 5 miles an hour. He could have easily just stepped to the right. Or no, to his left. He could have just stepped to his left and never been hit by the vehicle. So you can't say, I shot because I thought I was going to die. Officer, why didn't you just step to the left? Oh.
Because I had seconds to think.
No, he didn't. The amount of time to draw his weapon, he could have just stepped to. You know what my first impulse is?
You know how fast you can draw a weapon? Do you know how fast you can draw a weapon?
Do you know what my first impulse is if a car's going to hit me? Not to draw my weapon. It's to get out of the way. Because even if I shoot and I don't kill them, if they're really trying to hit me, they can still run me over. The car was going 0 miles per hour forward, bro. You cannot, if I'm on a board, I'm going to say, you cannot tell me your only option out of that, officer, was to shoot to kill. You can't tell me that. You could have stepped to the left. Bro, why didn't he step to the left? Why didn't he step to the left?
because he didn't think that was a viable option at the time.
That's the dumbest thing. No, that's. I'm telling you right now. No law enforcement board of expert law enforcement officers are going to look at that video and assume the same thing that you just said. No professional law enforcement board and attorneys are going to look at that video and not say, while you were drawing your weapon, why didn't you place yourself out of the vehicle's path? Do you understand that? Do you at least agree with that?
I don't know what you're saying.
Okay, well, if you're not listening anymore, I'm good. Here's the problem. The minute I bring points up to people, the minute I bring a legitimate point up to someone and basically say, hey, the minute I bring legitimate points up to somebody that says, and I ask them a direct question, they say stuff like, I don't know, I didn't hear what you said. Because you're not listening anymore. Because you've got your mods. Don't ban anybody. Don't ban anybody in any way, shape, or form. Stop banning people. I'm going to unmod fucking everybody. I'll do it myself. All right. The minute I ask something like that, if I'm going to draw my weapon, the first thing I'm going to do, even when I'm drawing my weapon, hello, I'm placing myself out of harm's way as I draw my weapon. I'm multitasking. I'm not leaving myself in harm's way while drawing my weapon. Okay? And any law enforcement board with experienced law enforcement officers who teach tactics, who teach training, who go over this stuff on a daily basis are going to look at this video and they're going to say, why didn't you get yourself out of... Oh, do I? Good point. It shouldn't be members only. All right. Let me turn that off. Well, members, 99 cents. Hang on. Good point. I was wrong. I meant to turn subscribers on. That makes sense now. All better. Okay. At any point, why didn't you get yourself out of harm's way while drawing your weapon? That's what they're going to ask. That's what they're going to ask. That's what the board's going to ask this guy. Officer, once you were out of harm's way and you fired the first shot, why, even though you left yourself in harm's way while drawing your weapon, why did you, when you were out of harm's way, continue to fire 2 more shots? When you were no longer in harm's way and the person in the vehicle was no longer a dangerous threat. Thank you so much for subscribing, sir. I'm free. I know you are. I screwed up and I put the wrong one. Oh, nobody told me. I don't have any goddamn... Anyways. So I'm trying to figure this out. Now, so no, it is not a good shot. It is not a good shoot. Because they're going to say, officer, you had time to draw your weapon, and while drawing your weapon, you didn't place yourself out of harm's way. Why? Because now, if you place yourself out of harm's way and she turns towards you, that's an authorized shoot. But you didn't. And I don't understand that aspect of it. Like, I don't understand this aspect. The wheels are turned. I mean, and for you to say, well, he didn't see her hands. He saw her hands. He saw her hands on the steering wheel. There's no way he didn't. You're looking for that. We're all looking for that. My main focus is your hands. Because your hands hold guns. That's what we're looking at. Your hands. He does sidestep the vehicle. No. When he's drawing his weapon, he's pointing his vehicle gun out. He does not sidestep. When he's drawing the gun out of the holster and points it straight out, he does not sidestep. At that moment, he should have been sidestepping while drawing the weapon and coming around the side of the vehicle. There was no need to stay in front of the vehicle. And any properly trained law enforcement officer is going to do that. You are not going to leave yourself in harm's way. If you have enough time to draw the weapon, he had enough. Remember, the car was doing 0 miles an hour. The max speed of the car before it got by him was probably 5 miles an hour. So 0 to 5 miles an hour, he could have been, if he felt that he was in danger, because remember, if he felt he was in danger, his first response is to get out of the way of danger. Side step. Step to the left. Step to the left. Can we play back the video? It wasn't. Yeah, I'll play it. This is the slow-mo of the video.
And pay attention to the wheels of her vehicle, because that'll show you that she wasn't trying to run into him. She's trying to evade the ICE agent. Take a look.
Okay. The vehicles are pointed this way. She's got to turn the wheel. The wheels are now pointed the other way. She's got to turn the wheel. All right, she's backing up. She's backing up. She's backing up. The cop sees. The cop, I don't know if he's on his phone. He's holding something in his hand like a phone. Do you guys see this right here? He's holding something like a phone. Okay? He is looking at her and filming her. I want his phone. I want his phone. He has got to see her turning the wheel. He's got to see her turning the wheel because she's turning the wheel with him in front. He's looking at her. Okay. She's got the wheel straight. He needs to sidestep. He doesn't need to draw his weapon. Just get out of the way. He can make 2 steps to the left. Okay, while she's doing that, she's turning the wheel. She's turning the wheel. He has got to see the steering wheel being turned. He's looking right at her. She starts moving forward. He draws her weapon. Wheel is being turned. It's being turned while he's still in front of the vehicle. He sees the wheel being turned away. There's no way he could miss it. There's literally no way he could miss it. He would be watching her hands. He places himself around. He is literally putting himself around to put himself back into. Look at him. Look at the angle of the gun. He is literally coming around like this. So his body's over here, and he's literally, well, for you guys, it'd be over this way. I go this way. He's coming around like this. He's coming around. Look at the gun. His body's at an angle. His body is at an angle. And he's pointing the gun. He should have just sidestepped out of the way of the vehicle. He placed himself into that position. I'm telling you right now, there's no cop. There's no board that's going to look at this and not see what I just saw. And not say, officer, what dangerous felony did she commit that you felt that if she were to get away, she would do it again, or she would unalive somebody, or what evidence of that do you have? None. Well, then you just can't shoot somebody while running away. That's not a shootable offense. Now, my next question is, while you were coming around the front of the vehicle, why did you leave yourself in the position of the vehicle? Well, I had my phone out, and I was getting a picture of her so we could get facial recognition of her. Perfect. While doing that, after the picture was taken, that would be good. That's good, officer. Good job. While doing that, why did you leave yourself in a position that you could get run over by the vehicle? Why did you leave yourself in that position? Okay, then why didn't you get out of the way of the vehicle and come around to the side door with your partner? I don't know if that's his partner, but with the other guy. I don't know. Why did you draw your weapon? Because she was driving at me. Why didn't you get out of the position of danger while drawing your weapon? Like, why didn't you get yourself out of that position? It's not a good shoot. And you know why? Unfortunately, when cops make mistakes like this, mistakes that a police officer makes becomes not a good shoot. Sometimes it's a bad shoot and the cop gets in trouble because of a mistake. He didn't mean to do it. I'm not saying this guy didn't mean to do it or if he did mean to do it. I'm saying that sometimes cops make mistakes and they're justified as a bad shoot because of the mistake that he made. But you can't leave yourself in that position and then say, oh, I shot because I thought she was going to run me over. Well, she would have never had that opportunity to run you over if you would have sidestepped the vehicle like you're supposed to. Okay, got it. Yep, I just got it. I can't. Hang on. What is, I gotta do some math in here for a second. Hang on a second. Where's my calculator? 6 times. Oh, 25. Yeah, let somebody else fucking haul it. Anyways, I did get it. She made the mistake by moving her vehicle towards the officer. Yeah. Yeah, she obviously, to be completely honest, you should not evade police. 100%. Does that mean she should have died? Does that mistake justify dying? Well, let me ask a quick question. Ashley Babbitt was told the same thing, and Ashley Babbitt was unalived. Now, the Ashley Babbitt is a completely different situation. She was not trying to evade. They were trying to get in. But are you guys okay with Ashley Babbitt being unalived? Just thought I'd check, because most of you are going to say no. And I don't know why. And then you guys got to think to yourselves, what, even if somebody evades, so do you believe that a motorcycle officer or a motorcyclist, and I see these all the time, and I think they're nuts. Do you think somebody evading on a motorcycle, when they know they can get away, that they should be able to shoot them just so they don't get away? Cop pulls over a motorcycle for running a red light, and then the cop shows up and he gets alongside the motorcycle, and the motorcycle takes off, and the handlebars hit the cop. Can the cop draw his weapon and shoot him? Just wondering. Just thought I'd ask. I'm just telling you what's going to happen. I mean, I'm just being honest with you, because there is a different standard for law enforcement officers than there are for normal people. And law enforcement officers are trained to not place themselves in a position that they can be, that they have to use their weapon. Okay? I'm not going to place myself in a position that I have to use my weapon. You know what I mean? I'm going to use my weapon when I need to use my weapon. So he should have kept coming around the front of the vehicle. He should have never left himself. Now, I saw what he did. He busted out his camera, and I guarantee you he took a picture of her for facial recognition. I guarantee you that. I guarantee that. But he can't leave himself in this position where he can be hit by the vehicle. He's got to, and then if he can draw his weapon, you can draw your weapon and then step away. You can't just draw your weapon and say, hit me, bitch. You can't, I know he didn't say that, but you can't leave yourself in that position. You've got to get out of the way of the vehicle. I don't know. I'm just telling you that you have to look at this from a board that you can't take the mistake that she made. I know it sucks, but you can't take the mistake that she made of evading the police and say that it was a justifiable shoot because of that. You have to look at this and say, okay, what was going on? And the first thing that was going on was she was going to evade the police. Okay. Well, you technically shot her The first round, you placed yourself. Why did you leave yourself in that position? Why didn't you sidestep while drawing the weapon? Why didn't you take yourself out of that position? Even if you felt you had to draw the weapon, why didn't you sidestep? And you better have an answer for that. Because you're not in front of a board. You're in front of a board of other law enforcement officers or people or lawyers and stuff like that have been doing this for years and years and years and years and years and years. Okay. Then you got to go in front of a lawyer, and they're going to look at this and say, "Why did you do that? What is your training to do? What are you trained to do?" Well, I'm trained not to stay in front of the vehicle. Okay. After the vehicle got around you and you were no longer in threat, there was no threat to you. You fired additional rounds. Why? What justification did you have to fire additional rounds into the vehicle at that moment? None. He had none. None. See, here comes the excuses for Babbitt. Babbitt was unarmed. This lady was armed with a motor vehicle. Technically, they were armed. They were armed with flagpoles, helmets, they were armed with mace, fire extinguishers. The people at January 6th were armed. Claw hammers, they were armed. They were armed. So you can't say they weren't armed. If this is armed, they were armed. They broke the window. You understand she had to climb through a broken window. Do you know how they broke the window? Do you know how they broke the window? Because somebody was armed with something that could break glass or plexiglass. Right? Why was she blocking the road? I don't know. But that, again, that's not a shootable event. I can't shoot you if you block the road. Of course, she was driving the car towards the officer. No, the evidence shows that she wasn't. Most of us are in agreement, except for you, that she was not driving the car at the officer. You can see the wheels being turned. Video evidence shows that she was not. Now, you have to assume that the cop might not have known that. Okay, but then the cop should have sidestepped the vehicle, not shot the person in the car. Because the car was doing 0 miles an hour. 0 to 5 miles an hour. 0 to 5 miles an hour. Right? Yeah, you can look at the tires are turning. I just backed it up in slow-mo. The wheels are facing, the wheels on the bus go round and round. The wheels are facing this way. The cop is in front. The cop can see her turning. I mean, they go from all the way to the, what's that? The left.
And into him, she's trying to evade the ICE agent. Take a look.
They go from all the way to the left while she's backing up. She's going so slow that the guy, remember, she's going so slow that the guy holding the door handle can keep up. Walking. She's now going forward and turning the wheel. Because now the wheel right here, here's the wheel. So she had to go from all the way to this way, all the way to this way. She's turning the wheel. Now the wheel's all the way to the other way. How did it get there? Okay. How did the wheel get from facing all the way this way to all the way this way? She turned the steering wheel, which the guy in front would be looking at because I'd want to watch the hands. And again, he fired one shot and additional shots. What was the justification for the additional shots fired? right? I mean, I look, man. I know if you just want to argue because you want the left to be bad people and the right to be good people, I'm not your show. I'm not the show for you. I don't care. But if you want to bring a legitimate argument, like I'm telling him that we can't take out the right now. If I jump in a plane and start flying a plane, like he's a pilot, I expect him to be more trained than me flying my drone, right? So I expect this law enforcement officer to be better trained than the person in the car. He has got to make the better decision. And I like it or not, the cop has got to make the better decision. And he didn't. He made the worst decision. The better decision would be to step a little bit to the left. Just step to the left. And now he's out of harm's way. Like I said, the guy who called in, he's a pilot, allegedly. I don't know if he is or if he isn't. Why would you call my... maybe he is. I'm a drone pilot. He's a pilot. I would expect him to know more than me as a drone pilot. Right? So if I'm flying my drone and I'm, even though I have certain requirements and height and all this other shit, if you see my drone in your way as a pilot, I expect the aviation committee is going to probably say, well, why didn't you? I understand the drone didn't do the right thing, but you saw the drone, right? Well, why didn't you get out of the way of the drone? Why did you run directly into the drone? They're still going to probably hold you to a higher standard than me. You got to hold the cop to a higher standard. And I don't know why we're not doing that here. This is where the confusion lies. You have to hold the cop to a higher standard. Justify to me why you fired the additional shots. Well, you can't. This might be out of country. Let's see.
Mike.
Hello, Mike. How can I help you? Mike? Bye, Mike. I don't tell you. You got to be able to talk on the phone. All right. I'll give him one more chance to see if he can figure out his phone number. And then, why did he leave the scene? Why did he leave the scene? That's another good point. You can't leave the scene. You can't just run away. Out of your mind? It's a crime scene. Technically, the perpetrator just shot somebody. It's about 1 minute long. Let me see here. Can I bring this over? Hang on, let me play this. I just want to see this.
We did this in New York in 1994, 95. We changed it in LAPD when I was there in 2004. But it's basically simple, which is if you're confronted by a moving vehicle that could be a threat to you, get out of the way of the vehicle and don't shoot at a car. Now, this is DHS.
Welcome to your training.
Policy. I'm reading to you from DHS.
Here's why you don't shoot at a car. Let me explain why you don't shoot at a car, okay? I'm going to explain to the pilot why you also don't shoot at a car. Those windows are tinted. Is there a kid behind the mother in a car seat in a car that I might end up shooting? Is that a possibility that there are kids in the car? Other people in the car? Do you understand why you don't shoot at a car? You just get out of the way?
Policy. DHS law enforcement officers are prohibited from discharging firearms at the operator of a moving vehicle or other conveyance unless the use of deadly force of the... Basically, it says, unless it's...
This appears to be black and white.
Well, it does. And it also says a law enforcement officer must take into consideration the hazards that may be posed to law enforcement and innocent bystanders by an out-of-control vehicle, which we just saw the result of that. The point is, unless the person is literally either you...
Hey, where's the pilot? Where's the pilot? Let's call the pilot back. Where's the pilot? And then we're gonna go. Where's the pilot? There's not the pilot. Where's the pilot? Let's call the pilot back.
Using the vehicle to ram.
We're calling the pilot back because he probably got all upset and left.
Hello?
Hey, are you still watching my show?
No.
All right, I'm gonna play this for you. I want you to respond to this. Are you ready? It's a minute.
I don't do it. Okay.
All right.
We did this in New York in 1994, 95. We changed it in LAPD when I was there in 2004. But it's basically simple, which is...
You playing anything? I don't hear anything.
That's because your kid's screaming. Do you understand that they're not allowed to shoot into a vehicle? That they're
No,
not even
there's
allowed to
nothing
shoot
playing.
into a
There's
vehicle?
literally nothing playing on my end.
Everybody else can hear it.
Okay, there's nothing playing on my end.
We did this in New York.
Can you not hear that?
In 1994, 95. We changed...
Okay, let me tell you the gist of the video. They're not allowed to shoot into a vehicle because of the possible hazards that could be. There could be children in the vehicle. They have to get out of the way of the vehicle. Also, if by shooting a vehicle, that vehicle can run and hurt other pedestrians if the person is, and like this vehicle did. They're not legally allowed to shoot into a vehicle.
What? Who? You see this on? Is it on news or something? On the news?
Yeah, they're talking about it right now. John Miller, he reads the DHS policy. He's reading from the Department of Homeland Security policy.
Well, yeah, if that's policy, then they're not. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not a justifiable shoot, is it?
Okay.
Okay. See, thank God your kid has a. Thank God your kid is loud. See. Your kid should watch my show because that way he can end up.
If it's policy and they're not allowed to shoot into vehicles, it's not a justifiable shoot because it's against policy.
Correct. It wasn't a justifiable shoot anyways because he could have sidestepped the vehicle.
Okay, I mean we can argue that all day, but
it's not an argument. You can see it.
But we agree that it's not justifiable if it's against policy.
Right.
So I don't know. Okay.
All right. Let your kids know I'm smarter than Daddy. Tell your kids I'm smarter than Daddy.
We did this in New York in 1994, 95. We changed it in LAPD when I was there in...
We'll try this one more time with Mike. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hello, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What you got, brother?
Yeah, what's going on, man? I wanted to give you the perspective. I live in the UK, I live in London.
Oh, okay.
And obviously we see all of the American news in all of its glory and kind of all of Trump's, mishaps and all of that. But we've had a similar instance recently of a police shooting into a vehicle. Although it was a little different, I will accept, because the man who was killed, his vehicle was linked to a shooting, criminal activity, and he was known to police. But his name was Chris Cabot. You can look it up on Google. And there was a big debate in the UK about, whether it was a lawful shooting or not. Again, in similar fashion, he was, T-packed down a narrow lane by police vehicles. And as police exited their vehicles to pull him out of his vehicle, he decided to put his foot down and try and drive into the direction of the police officers. He was in a high-performance vehicle.
Sure.
One of the police officers took a split-second decision to open fire into the vehicle, which ultimately, killed him. Now, I've got to be honest, it's a tragedy what happened. Make no mistake about it. Someone has, recklessly lost their lives, and it is a tragedy. And, thoughts have to be with, her loved ones, her family, etc. But this happens so often in America that at what point and again, you tell me, I'm not American, I don't live there, but at what point does it come like, listen, if law enforcement tell you to exit the vehicle, exit the vehicle, because if you don't, you are running the risk of a cop using his weapon against you. At what point does the penny drop and say, look, he's telling me to exit the vehicle, I'm making the conscious decision to put my car into reverse and then try and drive off. We can speculate, the direction of where the vehicle was heading, but ultimately you failed to comply with law enforcement.
Yeah, we don't shoot people for failure to comply.
Do you understand that you're in a vehicle which could be seen as a deadly weapon and you're driving it in the direction of a police officer? I'm not justifying the police officer's action, but at some point We can't just live in a lawless society where
it's
if
not
police
lawless.
tell you to pull over, you fail to do so.
Right, it's not lawless, but we don't. So our usage of deadly force is for purposes of specific things. So you can't not complying is not a use of deadly force. If I can sidestep and get out of the way of the vehicle, then I should sidestep and get out of the way of the vehicle. If I can't get out of the way of the vehicle, and I have no other I carry a firearm. I can't say, sir, you're going to have to move your car because I need to get into that driveway. And he says, fuck you. And I say, you know what? Eat my gun. No, I can't do that. There has to be a justifiable means for me to draw my weapon and use my weapon. It has to be self-defense. I have no other option. I have no other option other than to use this weapon. It has to be my last resort, right? For me, I'm saying.
So if devil's advocate, I understand that, tensions with ICE agents, officers, whatever the correct terminology is. My understanding is that tensions are very high at the moment in America between ICE and local communities. If an ICE agent or officer, correct me on the terminology, has asked someone to come out of the vehicle with the current situation as it is, that person then fails to comply, reverses, and then drives in the direction of that ICE officer. Could you not maybe see that it's just brain dead on all accounts? I'm not in any way defending this ICE agent. I'm not saying that because
no, I know you're not. I get what you're saying. I'm not holding you to that standard at all. Go ahead.
Two seconds. These agents need to have the best. They need to be trained at the same level as special forces, in my opinion. They need to have that kind of same situational awareness. But can we not see that with everything that's going on? If an ICE agent has asked you to pull over or step out of the car and you have nothing to hide and you are a lawful legal citizen, it probably serves you to just comply.
It can, but again, the problem is that what if I don't? What if I say no?
If you
drag me out.
Okay, and if you this is the thing. Like I understand it's a two-sided coin. I understand that.
Yeah.
The unfortunate is one side holds a lot more power than the other side, and I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but that's just the reality of it. Law enforcement, ICE agents, government officials, agents, etc., have a lot more law and power than us citizens.
No, that's the problem is that again.
I would raise if a police officer. My father raised me that whatever a police officer asks you to do, just comply because they have the complete power over to make your life really difficult or really easy in that instance.
Sure. Then then let me ask a quick question. Why do criminals commit crimes?
For a multitude of reasons.
Okay. But do they care about the law enforcement's power? No.
Some do, some don't.
They don't.
It's a very, very.
Do all people respond the same under pressure?
Absolutely not, as we've seen with this ICE agent.
Okay. So you can't base it on what you're told to do and what you're going to do. If a cop pulls me over and says, get out of the car, I'm probably going to get out of the car. Is my wife? No, of course not.
But then do you not think that it's a game of averages? Right? So if we replayed this incident 100 times over, where 100 of the people asked to step out of the vehicle stepped out of the vehicle versus 100 of the people who didn't step out of the vehicle and then proceeded to try and drive off, how many fatalities will be on one end of the people who complied versus the people who didn't comply? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like if we just kind of for that moment, we can feel really annoyed, frustrated, and violated. But if we just comply, the chances are overwhelmingly in favor that we're going to go home to our family that night. We're going to go home to our loved ones. Versus if we fail to comply, there's probably a very high degree possibility that something crazy probably is going to happen.
Okay, which I understand. You don't have to comply. You don't have to comply. Now, you might get arrested, but that's also your right. But the problem is that my question to you is, should a cop be able to shoot me if I don't comply?
Okay. I would personally, if you're asking me, I understand you don't have to comply. The same way you don't have to do a lot of things. Now, will they serve you? Probably not. You know, we have free will.
The problem I think the problem we're both agreeing on is I don't have to comply. They're probably going to drag me out of the car. They're gonna charge me for resisting arrest. They're going to cuff me. They're going to taser me. They're going to do all this. Yes, I understand that. But the problem and that stuff happens because not everybody's going to do what a law enforcement officer is going to tell them to do. If they did, we wouldn't have crime. Okay, so the problem is that we wouldn't have crime
if we purposely fail to comply.
We
cannot play victim as a result of then police action towards us.
No,
we fail to comply. You have that choice. You have that choice to fail to comply. Absolutely. You have the same choice to go and rob a bank. You have the same choice to go.
Do you understand the stand?
All of these things.
Okay, I don't know how it is in London. I don't know how it is in England. But here, you have level of threat assessment. I cannot shoot someone that is just failing to comply. I cannot shoot someone that is resisting arrest and not letting me handcuff. I can't say, you know what? I'm tired of fighting you trying to get these handcuffs on. I'm just going to shoot your ass in the head. I can't do that. I have a level in which I have to match that other person.
That's understandable.
Okay.
Now
I'm trying to establish here is that
in a 2-ton car, which could potentially lead to fatalities.
It could.
The situation becomes very complex.
Yes, but
and I'm
again,
not saying that ICE officer was right or wrong, but I'm saying this all boils down to, unfortunately, and I've seen a lot of comments from right wing, Trump supporters saying that she deserved to die. I will never say any of that because that's barbaric. It's disgusting. I don't stand for that. Nobody deserves to die. She is absolutely one. She does not deserve to die, and it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy of what happened. However, my point is, this would have all been mitigated should she have just complied. The fact that she failed to comply, which she had the right to do.
This would have all wait. This did not would have all this. First of all, would not have all been mitigated. Right? The cop pulled the trigger. Correct?
The cop pulled the trigger as a result of her failing to comply and driving.
No. The cop did not have an authorized shoot. He was not authorized to shoot in that situation. He was not authorized to shoot into a car.
But do you honestly think for a second that had she have complied, the cop still would have pulled the trigger?
No, what I'm saying.
This is all hypothetical, and I appreciate that, but
no, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. What you're trying to say is that if you think everyone's going to comply, then the problem I'm having that is why do we have criminals?
That we have criminals for a multitude of reasons.
Okay, but not everybody follows. So not everybody follows the law is what I'm trying to explain to you. And you can't force if everybody just did what they were told to do, we wouldn't need police.
I understand that.
Okay,
what my point is
I understand your point, but your point is such a blanket statement that it doesn't matter. Because if you're trying to say if everybody would just comply, the situation wouldn't happen. But if everybody would just comply with police, we wouldn't need police.
Well, yeah.
So what I'm trying to establish your point's a mute point.
Why do you feel that way?
Because the law enforcement officer basically went one step, used deadly force when it wasn't needed. That's what we're arguing here. So we're not arguing a comply factor.
I understand that, but maybe I'm looking at it at a really surface level. But
yes, and I already answered the question. If everybody were to comply with police, we wouldn't need police.
All of your police brutality videos, we see all of your the cop videos of killings. We see it all in the UK. Okay.
But if everybody were to comply with police and comply with the law, we wouldn't need police. Your statement is everybody should comply with police. Then everybody should not break the law.
What kind of message? This is where you kind of maybe have to look internally when you say what kind of. And again, I'll go back to what my father used to taught me growing up. If you ever get into an issue with a police officer, just comply.
I got it. You know what my dad taught me? Don't commit crimes.
Very difficult. Yeah, they don't carry guns like they do in America. but they can still arrest you.
I
They
understand.
can still charge you. They can still put things on your record, which ultimately does not serve you in life.
What? Okay, I get it. Okay, okay. I think here's the point, and here's the point. Everybody needs to comply. Got it.
You don't have to comply. You don't have to comply. Then you're running the risk of situations like this happening.
No, you're not. 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 This is where you're making the leap. You're making the leap to, if you don't comply, you will be shot. That's the leap that you just made by saying situations like this happening. Just comply or you'll be shot. No, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. A cop cannot shoot you for not complying here.
No, she didn't comply, and then she drove.
Okay, listen to me. Hang on. Stop.
You're missing that information out.
No, you're leaving that information out. You said if you just comply, if you don't comply, you're opening yourself up to the risk that just happened. Now, if you would have said, hang on, stop.
You can't just shout over people.
Yes, I can because you're not letting me finish. You're not letting me finish.
But you can't just shout over people.
You're not, I can't, it's my show. It's actually my show.
Well,
you know that, right?
You can do it, but you just
perfect.
You make yourself very weak.
You are making a blanket statement. And your blanket statement is, if people just complied, this wouldn't happen. That's not why this happened. It wasn't the compliance portion that got her shot. Do you understand
so why
that?
Do you believe she was shot?
No, hang on. Again, the compliance was just get out of the car. You started your conversation with complying with law enforcement officers. I don't have to comply, and I cannot comply all I want. That does not give a cop the right to shoot me, ever.
Okay. But then,
listen to me. Do you understand that?
If you choose to
hang on. Do you understand that?
And then drive it in the direction.
Do you understand that?
You can't see that. Maybe you might.
Do you understand what I just said?
I understand what you're saying.
Okay, stop.
You understand what I'm saying?
No, because you're running down the road to 17 other parts. You are basically putting compliance with officers with assault with a motor vehicle. You're making that connection. I'm trying to separate that connection, and you won't let me. So you do not have to comply with a cop.
All you want. I'm just going to give you my opinion.
I'm good. Yeah, again, I just asked you to allow me to finish talking, and then you yell at me for talking over you. You can't say don't talk over me when I'm in the middle of talking and you start trying to talk over me. You are making the connection with it's best just to comply with officers. It's best just to comply with officers. So if he was on a motorcycle and just drove away, you can't shoot him. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not the compliance factor. You don't have to comply with a cop. You have the right not to comply with a cop. But the cop can never shoot you for not complying. A cop has to believe that their life is in danger or someone else's life is in danger. So if it's just complying about getting out of the vehicle, there's never, if I put the car in park and throw the keys out the door and they say get out of the vehicle, I'm like, no, not gonna do it. They can't just shoot into the car because I'm not complying. So you can't go down this road of just comply with the cop. Just do what a cop tells you. That's not, no, you should, but you don't have to. But even if you don't comply with a cop, they cannot shoot you. They cannot shoot you for not complying. You keep using complying, and I keep saying they cannot shoot you for not complying. You have to do other shit to be shot at. So this is what I'm trying to explain to you, and you don't want to listen to me. There is one more time for the people in London. There is never a time that not complying with a law enforcement officer, unless you're telling you to put down the gun, not complying with a law enforcement officer to get out of the vehicle will ever get you shot in this country. It should never get you shot. Ever. Might get you resisting arrest bruises, but it's not going to get you, it should not get you shot. Ever. The compliant portion, unless the compliant portion is placing them at risk. But just get out of the vehicle. Just do what he says. Well, that's not it. So what you were bringing to the table had nothing to do with this situation at all, in any way. So not complying with a cop is not going to get you shot. Well, should not get you shot. Some people are not going to want to get out of the vehicle. Some people are going to make it drag them out of the vehicle. This shit happens all the time. Cops don't just shoot into the car because you won't get out of the vehicle. I got to duck out. I'll see you guys later. See ya. Listen to Cody. He'll explain it to you. Cody's going to explain everything to you. Cody, explain it to him.
Hello, Sage.
Hello, Cody.
This is Cody. Or how? Wait a minute. Is my name Cody or Colby? I'm not really sure. So I will, there in fact, internally. Hang on a second. God damn it. I'm trying to. Wait a minute. I think your name might be Sully. I don't fucking know what your goddamn real name is. Alright, give me a call back. Wait a minute. Sage. I'm sorry. Please don't record this.